Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Podium Esports coverage of the first race in the round of 8 for the 2021 Midwest Sim Racing Association Premier Series playoffs. Tonight, we bring you live coverage of the Aiologs Projects 300 live from iRacing's virtual Texas Motor Speedway in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm your host, Joshua Lee. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Briar LaPrade, with Ryan Bauer down in the virtual production trailer using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. The first race of the round of 8 for the playoffs, Brian, we come to a track that you either love or you hate when it comes to the iRacing NASCAR Oval community. A lot of drivers hate the dirty air. Some other drivers like the fact that, you know, it's an intermediate. They might have some faster cars when it comes to these racetracks, but end of the day, for the drivers in the playoffs, they need to have a good day here, regardless of how they feel about the racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. The playoff drivers are going to have to come here, whether or not they like it. Dirty air is going to be a huge factor tonight, I feel like. We'll see how the drivers handle it. I'm sure they've spent a lot of time setting up the car. We'll see how the leader can take away with the clean air. But yeah, like you said, like it or hate it, you're going to have to come here and face it.
Clean air is definitely going to be the name of the game, and that dirty air as well that you mentioned is going to be brought up a good amount tonight. But like we mentioned, coming into this race, it is the first race in the round of 8 for the playoffs, and here is the playoff grid as it currently stands. We eliminated 4 drivers 1 week ago. We eliminated John Mullins, we eliminated John Theodore, we eliminated Ryan Strunk, and we eliminated Chris Sisivera from the playoffs. And Hogan, Arthur, Helton, Hutchison, McWhorter, Shorba, Hoffman, and Steven Davis remain in the hunt for the championship, and they are looking to lock themselves into the championship 4 round from the virtual Phoenix Raceway. And Boyd Hogan will be close to doing that tonight. All Boyd Hogan needs is a top 8 in stage number 1 tonight, and he'll lock himself into the next round of the playoffs and into the championship 4. Everybody else down from there, Arthur, Helton, and Hutchison looking to stay above the cut line. McWhorter, Shorba, Hoffman, and Davis looking to get above that cut line. And Briar, look at the gap in between 4th and 5th right now. Hutchison and McWhorter, 16 points. That gap on the cut line, unless McWhorter gives a huge dent into that from Ralph Hutchison, it is going to be very difficult for anybody under that cut line to get above, up and into the top 4.
Yeah, absolutely. I bet all the playoff drivers wish their name was Boyd Hogan coming into this race. 99-point gap to the cutoff line. Any driver would love that in any situation. But yeah, if I was Ralph Hutchison, I'd be making sure I hit every mark I can hit and make sure I have a clean race, because you still got 2 other races, Martinsville, Kansas. Martinsville can be a toss-up either which way. You never know how Martinsville's going to go. But yeah, they're going to be ready for Phoenix here shortly.
Let's take a look at exactly where we are here at the virtual Texas Motor Speedway. Recently reconfigured in 2017 to make turns 1 and 2 a little bit flatter and a little bit wider. Turns 3 and 4 were unchanged in the reconfiguration, other than a repave as well of the circuit. Known as one of the tracks added in the late 90s when NASCAR was going to a lot more intermediate tracks. They were looking for, you know, big stadium-like tracks to host NASCAR events, and the Texas Motor Speedway in Fort Worth, Texas fit exactly into that. Then turns 1 and 2 at 20 degrees, turns 3 and 4 at 24 degrees. Briar, you know, of course, with the old Texas, turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 were already completely different. Now they are almost like 2 completely different racetracks on each side of this track.
Yeah, Texas is definitely a big change when they repaved the track and reconfigured the track. Turns 1 and 2 is definitely a lot flatter than 3 and 4. You're going to have to set up the car one way or another, and one part of the track you're going to be strong in, and one you're going to be weak in. So depends on how the drivers set up their car, and we'll see who has the stronger car on what end of the track.
And it is time to take a look at the starting grid for tonight's Aiologs Project 300. Christopher Hill, who made 9 starts this season. I don't believe any of them were documented here on Podium Esports. We'll start on the pole for Legacy Esports. Chris Severa to the outside of row number 1. Boyd Hogan, Ralph Hutchison share row 2 with Clayton Hoffman and Vincent Arthur sharing the first starting the next row and running out the first 3 rows on the grid. Brandon Davis, Jacob Shorba, Stephen Davis, and John Mullins round out the top 10, Briar.
Row 6, you have Derek Whitford, Tommy Gossett, and then row 7, you'll have, let's see, Joseph McWhorter, David Centini, Braxton DeWeese, John Theodore, row 8, Logan Helton, row 9, with Wyatt Mickelson alongside him.
It looks like Ryan Strunk, tail end of the field there, and not taking a qualifying time, also not on the grid just yet. We'll see if Ryan Strunk does end up taking to the green flag here tonight. 80 degrees on the air temperature, 103 on the track temp, and clear skies here in virtual Texas. Briar not giving these drivers any favors when it comes to the grip around this racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a hot and slick race, just how you would imagine Texas. Stages coming up this race, I believe, are 60 and 120. Race length is 200 laps. Stage 1, 60 laps. Stage 2, another 60. Final stage is going to be 80 laps. It's going to be interesting to see how the drivers play out the stages. I would assume they would run all 60 laps to the end. But if a yellow comes into play, that's going to throw a wrench into their plans.
Definitely going to be rough on tires in those stages. Fuel window, we're looking at about 58 to 62 laps, according to the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series broadcast that we had on Tuesday night. So can expect everybody to be good to the end on fuel when it comes to the stages. And Briar, do you think these drivers are going to try and cut stage number 3 in half, or maybe pit early in the stage, pit late in the stage, try and run their fuel tank completely dry before coming down into the pit lane?
I would assume that most drivers would want to split the stage. Some might want to extend as long as they can, hoping for a yellow, depending on what they want to play. It depends on your point situation for the playoff drivers mainly. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they play out the last stage, because obviously you're not going to make it all the way to the end. But I would assume most would split halfway, so 40 laps.
So we'll see how that is going to come into play in stage number 3. Stages 1 and 2 going to be rough on the tires, but everybody will be good to the end when it comes to the fuel mileage here tonight. 200 laps that we'll go racing for here around the virtual Texas Motor Speedway. 300 miles with Christopher Hill on the front row. Chris Severa, a great qualifying effort from him. He'll start to the outside as we get ready to go racing. It's the round of 8 in the MSRA Premier Series playoffs. We are etching ever closer to the championship round of the season. And the next round of the playoffs begins right here from virtual No Limits, Texas. It's time to go racing from Fort Worth. We're underway, 200 laps on the docket. Already a spin in the back. It looks like Tommy Gossett up and into the wall in turn 2. And the first caution of the night, just like that, is called. Tommy Gossett in the 10, I believe contact with one of the drivers on the inside puts him up and into the turn 2 wall. Oh, it looked like, Briar, as we get a look at this replay, that 44 might have gotten a little bit loose on the inside.
Yeah, cold tires are a pain, that's for sure. Definitely going to hurt the chances of Tommy Gossett. Hard hit to the outside wall. That's more than likely going to end his night for having a strong car. But unfortunate to happen on lap 1 of a 200-lap race. 200 laps is a long time around Texas.
David Centini barely avoiding any incident. I don't believe he got any damage from that one, so the 79 is good to go. Off that initial start, a great one for Chris Severa. He was able to grab that lead away from Christopher Hill to put the 99 back into P2. So now Chris Severa leads the way, and he'll be leading us back to the green flag. Half a lap under green. Briar not expecting anybody to come into the pit lane, and it's just difficult for these drivers when they run only a half a lap under green to also really find out what they've got in terms of setup. Do they have a short run car? Do they have a long run car? They need more laps to really figure that out. Half a lap is not doing anything for these drivers. This is really just gonna be almost like just racking them up again for another initial start of this race. That first restart was not much at all.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird feeling as a driver when you're pacing around getting ready to take the initial green flag. And then you can take the green flag and then the caution comes out that quick. It's definitely gonna feel weird, I would say, because you're gonna pretty much, like you said, have another initial start. And I'm sure these drivers are gonna be a little bit more cautious on the tires, even though they do have a heat cycle on them. But yeah, I would assume that the drivers would be a lot more cautious on the start here, hoping they don't go around.
And we, of course, saw it wasn't really the fault of anybody there in that first initial incident. Of course, the 44 gets loose on the inside. That was Derek Whitford on the inside line of Chris Severa, and just got a little bit loose on cold tires. So that just led to the first incident of the night. And unfortunate for the 10 of Tommy Gossett, who was involved in that incident. 44 got loose on the inside, came right up into him, and absolutely nothing the 10 could do there. 1 minute he was up on the outside line running his own race, and then the next minute, car loose on the inside and goes up and into the outside wall in turn 2. And Tommy Gossett, running the MSRA National Series also last night, was also taken out on lap number 6 in just about the same way. So it is so unfortunate for Tommy Gossett in the 10, but we're going to rack him up again. Field will go 2 by 2, and we get ready to retake the green flag. Christopher Hill, Chris Severa on the front row, but take a look in that second row right now, Briar. Hutchison and Hogan are right there. We talked about Boyd Hogan. He qualified P3, already looking to try and get back up to the front. Could not get there on the initial start, but with only a half a lap under the green flag, can't really expect much from Boyd Hogan in just one corner.
Yeah, absolutely. Ralph Hutchison's probably going to be looking to take the lead early here, I would assume. The 99 and the 96 on the outside there, I wouldn't be surprised if they work together. Sure, those Legacy Esports teammates are going to try and climb through together and take the lead 1-2 and try and roll out, maybe try and get a decent gap and see how they handle that. But like you said earlier, Chris Vera with a wonderful initial start. Ralph Hutchison behind him. We'll see how they take off into turn 1, see if they can get themselves a gap. A good jump on the start. We'll see.
Right on board there with Ralph Hutchison. We'll be dropping in with a handful of drivers tonight here for the MSRA Premier Series to make sure that you are cheering on your favorite driver here in the series in our chat rooms. Green flag goes right on back out. Chris Severa leads the field back into turn number 1. Let's try this start again. Christopher Hill's gonna go right back to the inside line as Severa pulls away at the front. Hutchison going to grab that third spot away from Boyd Hogan, puts Hogan back into P4 as Hoffman going to try and run away from a P5 spot as they go back into turn number 3. Hoffman running right behind Boyd Hogan in P5. Some important positions for Hoffman to try and get more above that cut line when it comes to the playoffs. He's going to challenge Boyd Hogan straight up, go right to the outside. He wants a spot in the championship 4, and positions early on in this race are definitely going to help him out, Briar.
Yeah, absolutely. I would assume Boyd's going to be chilling here, especially after the lap 1 incident. He was nowhere near it, but wants to take his time. He has a good enough point gap to where he can do whatever he wanted to, but I'm sure he wants to go for 4 in a row here as Ralph Hutchison, as we get an onboard look with Logan Helton, who started in the back with the VR headset going on. Like that little setup. Started 17th, currently 11th, slowly moving his way up. He was a very, very good driver at the Roval, starting from the back after a speeding penalty, and made his way up to 2nd after some cat shenanigans we had last week.
Yeah, hopefully we do not have any of those cat shenanigans again tonight. But take a look at the front of the field. New leader, Ralph Hutchison in the 51. Powers his way around Chris Severa. goes right to the front, and Christopher Hill now on the inside. He'll go right by Chris Severa as well, so it looks like a severe short run car for the 62 goes up to the lead for a handful of laps, and now Hutchison and Hill showing their speed at the front of the field as Severa falls back. Boyd Hogan falling back into 6. More of the same things we have seen from him in the past as we go on board with Jacob Shorba, the Naples, Florida driver, in the number 30. Early on in this run, everybody looking to sort of take a calm approach like you were mentioning, Breyer, and we've seen the same thing from Boyd Hogan before in the past with intermediates where he almost drops like multiple seconds off of the pace to save his tires, save what he's got, and then go running right up through the field, right back up to the front incredibly quickly. Expecting a lot of the same here from Boyd Hogan, and a lot of the same from a lot of the drivers in this field. I think a lot of them are going to have that same strategy of let's relax at the beginning portion of a long run, then really turn up the wick at about halfway.
Yeah, absolutely. Boyd knows how to save his stuff, and that's exactly what he's doing now as we get an onboard look with Joseph McQuarter here. Another VR headset user going down the backstretch, following Brandon Davis in the Podium Esports number 91 Ford Mustang going into turn 3. Looks pretty comfortable. Started 13th, moved up to 11th. Slowly but surely making his way forward.
Here's McWhorter, one of those drivers who comes into this race outside looking in on the cut line behind 16 points entering into this race. Only about 1/6 of the way through stage number 1, relatively even stages tonight. Stage 1 being 60 laps, stage 2 and another 60, and then the final stage being roughly about 80 laps here from the virtual Texas Motor Speedway. It's Hutchison out in front for the moment. Right side of your screen, you can see those live points, and make sure that you keep watching the 96 of Boyd Hogan, because if his plus to the cut line is above 100 when we end stage number 1, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, he is locked in to the next round of the playoffs, so he can automatically lock himself in with just one stage here from virtual Texas. So you're on board with Stephen Davis trying to fight in P8. Here's where that dirty air comes into play, Breyer. Everybody getting into a bit of a long train, but at the front, Hutchison has not been able to pull away too much.
Yeah, as we mentioned, the tire saving with Boyd, him climbing back through the field is going to be interesting because the dirty air is a struggle to get through, honestly, as we see Brandon Davis making a move here into turn number 3. A lot of VR headset users. I see a trend going on. We got the Davis brothers side by side here. But yeah, it's going to be tough to get through the dirty air. It's going to be interesting to see if Ralph's going to be able to hold on to this lead that he's got, even if Boyd saves his stuff. We'll see if Boyd can punch through that dirty air and make its way through the field. Christopher Hill tailing Ralph down the back straightaway. So we got a battle side by side. Vincent Arthur, Boyd Hogan going into turn number 3.
Hogan up on the outside. Vincent Arthur sits on the inside line, battling for P5. Arthur on the bottom this season. Really, he's the second best to Boyd Hogan. I hate to call him that openly, second best to a driver in the field, but unfortunately that is the bold truth. 6 wins on the season compared to Boyd's 14, with 14 top 5s, 18 top 10s. Only person with more top 10s than Vincent is Boyd and Jacob Shorba, who has 21 top 10s on the season. So Arthur with a good run this season, 7 stage wins as well on top of those 6 wins. So a great running this season from Vincent Arthur, looking to keep that up here in the playoffs. Would not be surprised if Vincent is one of those drivers who gets himself locked into the championship with one of the wins or on points when it comes to the next round of the campaign. Because we're going to see a lot more drivers get locked in when it comes to those points through the next 2 races on the calendar, Kansas and Martinsville. Here tonight, we are going to see a bit of drivers who go for that win, try and lock themselves into the championship 4 with a win. But it's going to be the game of beating Boyd Hogan, as we have seen the last couple of rounds. Great finishes as of late for Jacob Shorba, the Naples, Florida driver. 2 top 10s in a row at Talladega and the Roval. two of the toughest tracks to get a top 10 on, Briar. Great to see Shorba get consistent finishes on the tracks that are a little bit more about luck when it comes to Dega and the Roval, especially in the iRacing service.
Oh yeah, consistency is key. That's what I learned in the Road to Pro series. Round 2, it definitely helps when you're consistent. It shows in the point standings. He's still in the round of 8. He's 20 behind, but with only 3 races, he's gonna have to step it up just a little bit more, maybe get a win if he can. As we're on board Boyd Hogan here, going into turn number 3. He's slowly moving up through the field, currently running P4 as he made the move on Chris there. Ralph Hutchinson still with the lead. Looks like Christopher Hill's closed in a little bit on Ralph's lead. Still single file throughout the field.
Expecting to see the single file throughout the field, I think, especially with the way that not only these cars in this package tends to race at the Texas Motor Speedway, just the way these drivers tends to race, because it's hard to get aggressive, especially with this dirty air. And we can put blame on the racetrack, we can put blame on the race cars, but ultimately these drivers don't want to get super aggressive. They don't want to trim their cars out to be punching through the dirty air. That doesn't lead to anything good, especially from these drivers on the racetrack. So they want to just sort of relax for now. They can get aggressive like we are seeing as the 91 goes to the outside. That's Brandon Davis trying to get around John Mullins, and we go on board with Logan Helton, currently running P12. They can get aggressive, Briar, but it becomes a point where just sort of running in a line in a big train, single file, leads to just not a lot happening, and they're able to really control their race a little bit better than if they get aggressive. And you can see Logan Helton getting a little bit frustrated, maybe trying to be aggressive, just can't race and get close up to the 30.
Yeah, the best thing to do when you're in a single file train like this is probably just sit back and save your stuff. You're not going to be able to move through too well, burning off your stuff. You definitely want to right front by the end of this run, because it's going to be a long 60 laps. We're only working on lap 21 here, getting ready to complete 21, working on to 22. Ralph's still leading. But yeah, you've seen the frustration with Logan Helton. Just can't do anything right now, just stuck in a train. So the best advice, if I could talk to him now, would be just to save your stuff and work the laps and take out the laps and see what we can do when the caution comes out for the stage.
Clayton Hoffman, another one of those drivers who's trying to get himself above the cut line. Not the best finishes in that last round of the playoffs, but was able to get himself in, more so with the drama that we saw for that cut line at the Roval. So we did see a good bit of drama towards the latter end of that race. Here's another driver under the cut line currently, Joseph McWhorter. Double top 5s in the last 2 races from Dega and the Roval. He's going side by side right now with John Mullins, as McWhorter is going to get down to the bottom of the racetrack, try and power around Mullins. Not going to be able to do so. Here comes Mullins to fight back on the outside line. Still side by side, but there goes Mullins back up and into the 9th spot on the racetrack. Not for long, as McWhorter goes back to the bottom. Bottom line through 1 and 2 definitely seems to be the favorable spot on the racetrack, Briar. Outside line can work in turns 3 and 4, but definitely in turns 1 and 2, it's either inside line or you're going backwards.
As that battle was going on, Boyd Hogan made a move on Clayton Hoffman to move himself into the 3rd position. Boyd was saving his stuff, as we said earlier. Now he's just slowly charging his way up to the front, stalking Christopher Hill and Ralph Hutchinson. We'll see what he can do as he gets closer and closer. But yes, the bottom line favors. We'll see what kind of moves he can make, see if he can maybe pick one off on the outside.
Back to the corner. How willing is Christopher Hill to get aggressive here, as especially Boyd Hogan has caught right up to this group, and Hogan will take a look to the inside, side by side for P2. Here comes Hogan to the bottom, and he is going to go right on by Christopher Hill in the 99. A great move from the 96 of Boyd Hogan. So now Hogan's up in the 2nd place. Does Christopher Hill go for any sort of moves on his legacy teammate? No, he does not. He'll leave him to fight in P2. But now, what can Hutchison do from the front? Now he's going to be super vulnerable at the front here, Briar. even with the dirty air, leaders tend to pull away with Boyd Hogan behind you. And you can take a look at the difference in the lap times. Last time by, 2/10 faster for Hutchison, but look through 1 and 2, that gap is still closing on in as they race down the back.
Yeah, the disadvantage to being the leader is that you don't have any slipstream in front of you, so you're not going to be gaining speed. Boyd has that advantage over Ralph, but this is the last thing you want to see in the mirror, being Ralph Hutchison, is Boyd slowly crawling up through the field after you didn't see him in your mirror for 20 or so laps. But Boyd looks like he's charging through, slowly working his way up. Little bit of a gap there through 1 and 2. Looks like he got tight. This is the advantage I was talking about earlier with the clean air that Ralph has. And can Boyd fight through?
Looks like he's able to do that, albeit to an extent, as Boyd Hogan tries to run him down. Here's all the drivers that we have, including us. We're not in the driver's seat, so we're in the booth, but you can see over on that side, Vincent Arthur and Joseph McWhorter. You can see the two down there. You can see the two VR headsets of the POVs of the Davis brothers, and the Davis brothers in their room. Under me is Jacob Shorba, and then on the bottom, Logan Helton and Ralph Hutchison. Those are all the drivers that we have on cameras here tonight, and we'll be taking a look at them throughout the night tonight here from the virtual Texas Motor Speedway as we continue on with this race. Nearing about halfway done with this stage, which means that tires are definitely going to start to wear, Briar, and tire wear isn't something we talk about too much on intermediates. Definitely not the level of, you know, an Atlanta or of a Darlington, but tire wear still can strike here at Texas, and if you're not careful with those tires, you can get bit, as Hogan looks to the outside. Can't get that move done yet for the lead.
Yeah, Boyd has shown that if you save your stuff, you're going to be able to claw through this field. The interesting thing I want to point out is that the top 5 has pulled away from the rest of the field. I believe they're about 2 seconds away from the rest of the field. They pulled away in sort of a train and a separate pack. It's going to be interesting to see when, well, they're not going to be pitting, so never mind on that, but they pulled away a pretty large gap. So let's see if these guys can just kind of work together and just get to the end of the stage clean.
Getting to the end of the stage clean is definitely what majority of the drivers in this field want to do, as we see a solid 5-car train at the front of this field with Hutchison, Hogan, Hill, Hoffman, and Severa that is currently caught up in this line. Hogan looking for the lead now at Hutchison as we go off the top of Chris Severa. Great run for Severa so far. He had qualified second place, got the lead off of the initial start before that first yellow flag, and has been able to stay in the top 5 so far. Here's that battle for the race lead, as Hutchison currently has it. Hogan wants it, but cannot get close enough to take it away. We've seen the same thing from Boyd Hogan at intermediates all season, specifically Las Vegas at the beginning of the round of 12 for the MSRA Premier Series playoffs, looking to get himself back to the front of the field. And you can see, not getting too aggressive, but he gets these runs off the corner, Briar, that he is trying to take, just can't get around.
Yeah, with how these cup cars are with the 550 package and high downforce, it's going to be the most important thing to get the run off the corner, because that's where you're going to make your passes. You're going to have to get it tight on someone's door and pull them back best you can in order to make that pass go into the corner, because as you can tell, Boyd is sort of struggling through the corners. He's not able to really close up on him and to get side by side with him. He's just mainly getting runs off the corner, hoping he can get to his quarter panel at some point, as he's close to it.
Trying to get there, and once he gets side by side, undoubtedly I do think Hogan is going to power right on by Hutchison. I believe Hogan does have that faster car over the long run, like we have seen so many times this season, but we'll see what Hutchison can do. Of course, 2 wins on the season for Hutchison. You go back and take a look at where those wins were. One at the Darlington Raceway, one of the tougher tracks on the calendar. The other one came at the virtual Road America. So 2 very tough racetracks. So we saw 2 wins from Lockdown Racing's Ralph Hutchison. Wouldn't call Texas a tough racetrack in the sense of Darlington or a road course, but this is still a tough racetrack to get right. it's very easy to mess up, Briar, even though, everybody will say full throttle for the majority of the time here at Texas. Still has its challenges to it that we're seeing tonight, and we're seeing drivers who are struggling with those challenges already.
Yeah, Boyd is struggling with the dirty air, I can tell you that. That's one of the biggest challenges when coming to a track like this is fighting through that dirty air. The struggles of trying to get past someone with the dirty air it's very tough, honestly. As Boyd looks low, he's trying to get there, trying to show a nose. Ralph's running up high. Boyd's gonna have a bit of a run here. Should, as he gets side by side. Oh, not quite. They're brawling down the front straightaway, that's for sure.
They both got sideways off of turn number 4, both of them going into a little bit of a sideways moment. That puts Hogan back into P4, opens the door for Christopher Hill and Clayton Hoffman, who has joined this group as well. Now the new top 3, Hutchison remains at the front. Hill and Hoffman remains in second and third, with Severa and Hogan 4th and 5th now. As the 5-car train stays that way, it is still 5 cars, but now Hogan's at the exact tail end of it in P5, as Severa even got his way by. So Hogan, with that loose moment off of turn 4, Briar, lost a lot of the positions that he had gained. Now going right by Severa. Doesn't look like it affected him too much, but now he's got to fight not just one car and fight that dirty air for just one car. Now he's got to fight it for 3.
Yeah, it's all back to step 1 here for Boyd. At least he didn't lose the pack as the rest of the field did. The top 5 pulled away. If Boyd would have lost the lead draft, that would have been a killer for the rest of this stage. But he's slowly making his way back forward. I'm sure he'll get back up there. With the amount of tire he saved, he's really good at it, as we've seen earlier. He just got to charge his way and punch through the dirty air as he did the first time.
On board with Joseph McWhorter, currently running in P9. Now back to battling with Brandon Davis. And oh my, trying to go to the inside. Davis protects that spot, gets a little loose off 4. Here's the crossover. McWhorter to the bottom. And look who's watching in the background. That's Logan Helton looking to get himself into this fray. Helton, after starting in P17, not taking a time in qualifying, up and into the top 10. Exactly what Helton needed to do to get some better points, and now he's in the stage points, which is also going to be important for him, trying to get above that cut line even further as he comes in only 18 points above it.
Yeah, I can tell you that Brandon Davis looks like he has like a not so happy race car. He looks like he's very uncomfortable there. The rear end's one to come around, it looks like, and with the cars being mainly flat out here, you want to be trimmed out for the most part, so destroying the rear tires definitely is not going to help, but looks like Brandon's doing his best to hold on in that Podium Esports number 91.
Back to the inside goes Helton, as here's the battle for the lead. Now Christopher Hill has fallen back into P3, and the battle is now between the 51 and the 12 of Hutchison and Hoffman. But here is Hogan watching and waiting in the wings right now to see what develops in front of him and how exactly he is going to want to attack here at the front of the field. We're coming to the line, 17 to go here in stage number 1. Relatively even stages, 60, 60, and 80. So we're not going to halfway and then we're having a long stint all the way to the end. The stint is only 20 laps longer than these stages, as we see a swap for the battle for the lead. Hoffman to the front, and Hutchison now stuck on the bottom line. Hoffman gonna have to go to the outside. How good can that 12 rotate through 3 and 4 on the outside? Gets a little bit sideways, but Hutchison side by side. He'll try and fight for that lead back, but here comes Hogan. Tries to peek it 3 wide. He will take it 3 wide and 1. Hogan in the middle, Hutchison on the bottom, Hoffman on the outside. Who's gonna get away with the best result? Hutchison falls to 3rd, and Hoffman is gonna not clear Boyd Hogan by inches. Hogan back to the bottom in 3 to fight for the lead.
Going down the back, it looks like Christopher Hill tagged the wall just a little bit. He's loose coming off 4. Hoffman still battling with Boyd for the lead. I'm sure he's not going to give this one up. Stage points are going to be crucial here for him. I believe he's below the cutoff, or was coming into this race below the cutoff, so he's going to be looking for some stage points. That was the last thing Ralph Hutchison wanted there, getting trained around the outside. Boyd pushed the outside lane, which was Hoffman, and then ended up taking it 3 wide and had the gap and made it work. Now he's your leader.
Great run for Boyd Hogan, and surprisingly, these are some of the first laps that he is leading tonight. Boyd Hogan now at the front. Took him 45 laps to get to this point, but a great run for Boyd Hogan to get up to the front. And if he is to get this stage win, it'll put him to 28 stage wins and 98 total playoff points. He could theoretically tonight get 100 total playoff points and even go over that point. Now remember, playoff points are given with the stages. Stage win is 1 playoff point. Then a race win is 3 playoff points. With 14 wins and 27 stage wins, he has gotten up to 97 playoff points. Looking for 100 here tonight from virtual Texas. Is the onboard with Lockdown Racing's Ralph Hutchison, trying to work his way around Clayton Hoffman, and Hoffman looks to have some decent speed, Brian. Some of the best speed I think Hoffman has had this season. 1 win on the calendar, and that came back at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, so he knows how to get it done when it comes to intermediates. Of course, Atlanta and Texas, you can draw a couple of comparisons, but not a ton. Great night so far for Hoffman, as it looks like he has at least some decent pace to keep up at the front and to keep up at the 96.
I'm sure he's super happy with it. The one thing I do want to point out is that he's running second right now. Logan Helton, if we bring up the live points, I believe Logan Helton has the 4th and final spot. Yeah, there it is right there, plus 16 above. Hoffman running second. He's going to collect a lot more stage points here than Logan Helton, who's running 9th. I don't believe he's going to get to 8th before the end of this. Working lap 50 here. Remember, stage 1 ends at lap 60 with a caution being thrown, so when they get bunched back up, I'm sure Logan's going to work his way up through the field to try and collect more stage points for stage 2, but Hoffman, really good work here in stage 1 to collect more stage points.
And of course, with a win, you lock yourself into the next round. So our live points will say leader and put them all the way up to the top if they are in the lead. Right now, that's Boyd Hogan. Remember when Ralph Hutchison was in the lead and he was at the top, locked in? Once he lost the lead, goes down to plus 20 now above the cut line. So he still has a lot of work to do as we go on board with Jacob Shorba, trying to get around Ryan Strunk, and that is just about exactly what he is going to do. He'll go side by side for the moment with the 77, but unfortunately Strunk gets a little bit of a better run down the back straightaway. Gonna hold on to that 13th spot. Shorba in the playoffs needs some stage points. About 4 positions back from earning some stage points, unfortunately. Bit of work still left for Shorba, as you see him currently 26 points below the cut line. So we go on board with Christopher Hill, currently P4. Hutchison has not let Hoffman go too much, Briar. He's still there, but you can see how loose he gets off of turn 4. These tires are starting to wear to the point they are getting pretty loose.
Yeah, that is definitely another not so happy car that Ralph's got underneath of him. He's trying to fight it. Not that many more laps to go, so hopefully he can hang on here and finish third. Looks like Christopher Hill's got a little bit of a run on him going down the back straightaway. But Boyd, what a run he's been having here in stage 1. Pulling away from the rest of the pack that they got going on here, the top 5. P6, 5 seconds off of this little pack that's going on here. So these 5 here that are running are definitely happy to see that. They're going to be able to collect some decent stage points. It's going to be interesting to see if Ralph can get second here. If not, Hoffman's got a really good piece. We'll see what happens.
7 to go here in the first stage of the night. Is on board with Vincent Arthur, currently running in P6. Lost a good bit of time through this run. And he can't even see the leaders right now. A solid 5.5 seconds back from your current race leader, Boyd Hogan. And the gap is growing as Hogan runs away in that clean air, the 96. We know that Legacy Esports builds some great setups, and Boyd Hogan has had some great cars this entire season for the MSRA Premier Series. Looking to continue that with this stage win, if Hogan is the leader when they end the stage on lap 60, he will be walking away and into the championship 4, because even if he loses the lead, his points to the cut line will be more than 100, and with 100 possible points that are up for grabs after the first stage here tonight, that is going to work wonders for Boyd Hogan. So he'll be looking for that stage win, and we go on board with Braxton DeWeese in the number 15. Currently sits P12, trying to catch up to John Mullins in front of him. And Braxton DeWeese, we've seen some pretty good runs from him, Brian, in the last couple of rounds, especially at the Roval. He was one of the drivers up the front, but you can see 4th, 2nd, and 4th in his last 3 races, and I believe his 3 first races here in the MSRA Premier Series, but has not been able to get to victory lane just yet, and not having the best run here in Texas as he runs P12.
Yeah, definitely not the run he was looking for. Started 15th, currently 12th. Gain positions as he's gonna look to gain another one here on 64. John Mullins looks slow. Does John give it to him? No, he doesn't. He's gonna fight him on the outside here. Braxton with a pretty good run coming out of turn 4, side by side. Does Ryan Strunk get a run from this? Does he pounce on it? We'll see. But yeah, Braxton, I'm sure he's looking for a win. This is, like I said, not the greatest run he was looking for, but only stage 1. We're about to close that out. We'll see what he can do to rebound in stage 2. We're on board with Ralph Hutchison, who's trying to get around the 12 of Clayton Hoffman, stalking, as Boyd is absolutely blasted off.
3 to go here in the stage is to the inside of Hoffman, looking for 2nd place worth of stage points. Is Ralph Hutchison. He looks to the inside, can't get to Hoffman just yet, and we'll go for it again here in turn 3. There's the dive to the inside for the 51. Is it enough? And unfortunately, it doesn't look like it will be enough for Hoffman to hold on. Hutchison will grab that 2nd spot. Hoffman looks to try and go for a move to the inside. Could not do it as we take the white flag here in stage number 1. 60 laps over and done. And we have completed 90 miles of tonight's 300 miles and 200 laps from the virtual Texas Motor Speedway and the Aiologs Project's 300. For the 28th time this season, stage 1 winner is Boyd Hogan in the 96. Hutchison, Hoffman, Hill, Sabera, Arthur, McWhorter, Davis, Helton, and Brandon Davis. The top 10 here in the stage. And the yellow flag is going to fly. Winning stage number 1 is the 96 of Boyd Hogan. The stage 1 winner is presented by Shorba's Racing Graphics. SRG offers great services at affordable prices with iRacing paints, logos, numbers, and even t-shirts. $5 from each sale are donated to the Midwest Sim Racing Association End of Season Prize Fund. Visit them on Facebook at Shorba's Racing Graphics. So stage 1 has concluded, and not really a surprise to anybody. Boyd Hogan grabs the win. Would like to thank our title sponsor for tonight's race here from the virtual Texas Motor Speedway, Aiologs Projects. Shift into the future with the Aiologs Project Sequential Shifter. Their sequential shifter combines superb craftsmanship with the incredible feeling you'll experience shifting through the gears. Not only is this product one of the most critically acclaimed shifters for road and the upcoming next-gen car, it's one of the most affordable options you'll find anywhere in the market. If you want it all, get it from Aiologs Projects. Visit their website at shop.aiologs.net. Aiologs Projects, shift into the future. Field into pit lane, and Boyd Hogan leads them all in. Briar, I'm assuming we can expect 2 full cans of Sunoco fuel and 4 Goodyear tires from everybody in the field. Not really the time to try a 2-tire half fuel strategy.
Yeah, this is definitely not the time to take any risk. You want to get the 4 tires, set yourself up for the next stage. Maybe make some adjustments. You've seen the top 5 take off. We've been talking about that plenty tonight. But yeah, if I was 6th on back, I would try and make some adjustments, see what we got. Ralph, whoa, little squirrely there coming out of pit road. Not much has changed there in the top 5. But yeah, I would set yourself up for stage 2. Make sure you get a deep breath and get ready for another 60 laps.
Hogan out first. Hoffman, Hutchison, Severa, and Vincent Arthur works his way back up into the top 5 off of those pit stops. But Hogan, Hoffman, and Hutchison, the top 3 currently here on the racetrack. And we begin the Capital Auto Group Pit Road Report by speaking with Boyd Hogan. He's up here with us now. Boyd, stage number 1 win for the 28th time this season. Doesn't come as a shock to any of us. Don't think it comes as a shock to you, but how's that car feeling right now? It must be feeling pretty good like it has on the intermediates all season long.
Yeah, car's good. A little snug in dirty air in 1 and 2, and then I don't know, I think we're all pretty edgy in 3 and 4, to be honest. Overall though, yeah. Car's comfy. It's dirty air is horrible, so it's really going to be about who gets to the front and when, because I think there's only a limited window on how much time you really have to set up a proper pass.
Well, thank you for joining us here in the Capital Auto Pit Road Report, Boyd, and good luck here starting on the front row here at the restart.
Thanks, sir.
Real quick, we continue the Capital Auto Pit Road Report with Clayton Hoffman standing by with Briar LaPrade.
Clayton finished 3rd there in that stage. You're running 2nd right now on this restart. Looks like you got yourself a good piece. Collected a lot of stage points here. What's your plan for stage 2?
Maintain, drive with the lead pack, save as much tire as I can. Kind of when I went for the pass on Ralph, I absolutely destroyed my right front and right rear, so I got to do a better job saving to have a chance.
Gotcha on that. Good luck out there.
Thank you.
That concludes the Capital Auto Group Pit Road Report. Based in Salem, Oregon, Capital Auto Group is a car dealer that will meet and exceed your high expectations each and every time. Their experienced sales staff is eager to share its knowledge and enthusiasm with you. You can browse inventory online, schedule a test drive, and investigate financing options at capitalauto.com. Stage number 2 is ready to get green. 120 is the lap number that we will conclude this stage on. And we are underway. It's a great start for Boyd Hogan as he races down into turn number 1. Hutchison gonna grab that 2nd spot as they race into turns 1 and 2. Hoffman settles for P3. Severa and Arthur the top 5 as everybody gets single file as they race to the back.
No trouble there into turn 1 as we've seen on the initial start. Looks like these drivers were calm enough to get through this cold tire phase. See if they get through 3 and 4 fine. But yeah, Ralph Hutchison tight on the back bumper of Boyd Hogan as he looks for the lead off of turn number 4.
Side by side as Hutchison goes to the inside. Looks like Hogan trying the same thing he's been doing here on these long runs on the intermediates, saving what he has for later in the run. He's going to lose the lead by a considerable margin, is about to lose P2 as well to Clayton Hoffman in the 12. They dive into 3 and 4, and you can see Hogan not even putting up a fight for these spots at the front of the field. It makes sense, Briar. He wants to save what he's got, but this is putting him further down the order. I would normally say that that could lead to trouble because Hogan would be back in the dirty air, but we saw his car didn't really care much for the dirty air. It was running exactly the same, and he was going his way up through the field even with the dirty air.
Yeah, absolutely. I would assume he's got the same game plan as he did in stage 1, to just kind of sit back and relax, let everyone do their thing for the first 20 or so laps, and he's going to charge his way through the field again. We'll see what he's got. I'm sure he's going to have another good run here to the end of the stage. Our next side-by-side battle, we got Logan Helton with the 6'4". Don Mullins coming off of turn number 2 side-by-side, headed down the back.
Side by side as that is Helton to the inside. And Mullins going to be able to cover off that spot in 3. Shorba was also trying to get his elbows up in that group. Could not do it. Shorba back to P11 to go side by side with Christopher Hill, who lost a considerable amount of spots under that yellow flag in the pit lane. But he is trying to fight his way back towards the front. Side-by-side moment between Strunk and Davis. That is Brandon Davis in the 91 on the outside. And Ryan Strunk trying to get around him live points up on your screen now, right side, and that gap at the cut line, Breyer, has closed down as Hoffman runs in the front. Helton runs about mid-pack. Not doing the best for Helton when it comes to those points.
Yeah, as I said in stage 1, Hoffman collecting these stage points are very crucial as Logan Helton still running back there around the 10th position. So we got a side-by-side battle with Ryan Strunk in the 77 and the 64, now pushing back to Logan Helton. Logan definitely needs to step up the game here and try and collect another couple spots. Needs to make sure he's close with that cutoff line and gain as many points as he can.
On board for a moment with Logan Helton as he runs to the outside of Mullins, and Mullins made the move to the inside there actually to get by the 63 and slide his way back up into P9, and I think we are seeing just a little bit of frustration on the camera of Logan Helton there, wanting to run up in the front, but it just doesn't look like he has the car to run up in the front, Breyer. It doesn't look like that 63 is working how he needs it to tonight.
No, car definitely looks like it's struggling as John Mullins, the 64, is making his way around the outside. We're still on board here with Logan Helton. And Christopher Hill there in 99, like you said, fell back a lot of spots. Probably wanting to get back up towards the front, I would assume. Just a good move there on the inside. Logan Helton struggling on the outside. But yeah, I would assume he wants to get back up there. He's not in the playoffs. He's only had, I think, 9 starts, as we said at the beginning of this broadcast. Definitely looking to collect more, or well, no, not collect more stage points, sorry. Going up there to race up front and see if we can get a stage win.
Looking to do that, and those 9 starts, and he does have a handful of stage wins. Speaking on the 99 of Christopher Hill, 4 stage wins this season. We have no idea where these came. We have no idea where his 9 starts were, because I don't believe any of them are documented here on Podium Esports in the races that we have broadcast. But either way, great to see a 10th start being made by Christopher Hill, as he currently runs in P10 for the moment. Qualified on the pole, so we know that 99 has got some fast speed, and it looks like he was in the Bristol Dirt Race that we did broadcast here on Podium Esports, and I believe Martinsville and Talladega, those are the spring races for Martinsville and Talladega. We were here for Talladega when it came to the playoff race a couple of weeks ago. We were not here for the spring race and not here for spring Martinsville either. So looks like that's where the majority of those starts came for Christopher Hill. But we did see him at the Bristol Dirt Track in the spring and all the excitement that race brought. Side by side as Vincent Arthur goes into turns number 3 and 4. Trying to get up to the lead as he runs in second place right now, trying to chase down Ralph Hutchison. Arthur this season had a good stretch of wins on the season. Auto Club, he had Talladega in the spring, he had Dover, Circuit of the Americas, he had the Charlotte Motor Speedway when we went racing for 600 miles in the spring as well. So if anybody knows how to get it done on intermediate, it's Vincent Arthur, especially with long runs, and that is exactly what we are seeing here right now.
Absolutely, we got our first side-by-side battle with Christopher Hill and John Mullins in the 64, going through turns 1 and 2 right now. Christopher Hill looks like he's struggling a little bit on that bottom. The more cars you get trained up on the outside, the faster you're going to go. You're going to see it right here take place with Logan Helton pushing. We're getting close to the 64, as you see, pushing him with like a little bit of an air bubble that iRacing has modeled in here. The more cars you get lined up, obviously, on like a super speedway, for example, the faster you're going to go. So it works the exact same here with this 550 package.
It looks like a couple of those drivers are trying to use exactly what you were saying, Breyer, and of course we are seeing sort of lines develop. We're not usually seeing, what we might have seen with the older package where everybody just kind of spreads out into single car lines. Everybody is really in, like a pack of 3, a pack of 5, maybe even a pack of 4 or 6 even, that these drivers are sort of getting lined up in. And it's like a super speedway of Daytona or Talladega where they just line up, continue that momentum around the bottom of the racetrack and continue to gain speed, as we see John Theodore go to the inside of Jacob Shorba. John Theodore in the 27 almost made it into this round of the playoffs from virtual Charlotte. Unfortunately, at the end of the night with a 13th place finish, did not finish above the cut line. So he was eliminated. This is his first race back out of the playoffs. But great to see still John Theodore showing up here. And one of the main engine members at Podium. You can check out his stream, twitch.tv/John_A_Theodore to see exactly what he is doing in his sim rig here tonight as we go back to the battle for the lead between Hutchison and Vincent Arthur. Not much ground made up between Arthur and Hutchison Breyer, and not much ground made up between any of them and Boyd Hogan as well, as the 96 continues to run in that fourth spot, still buying his time, not wanting to waste what he's got yet, even 20 laps into this stage.
Yeah, it's about that time where Boyd wants to start using his stuff to get to the lead, and you can see it. He's slowly charging his way back up front. As we got a group of about 6 cars now, it looks like Joseph McWhorter's invited himself along with Vincent Arthur into this little pack that they had. Christopher Hill, the one that fell out of this pack, unfortunately. He's trying to make his way back up, but you can see this pack of 6, I'd say, yeah, 6 is starting to take away and see how far they can pull from the rest of the field.
And they are in a bit of a pack, and looks like what I was mentioning of Daytona or Talladega, they're running relatively together, not exactly going for any moves to the outside. There's a 3-car pocket of Brandon Davis, Ryan Strunk, and Christopher Hill back from there as well, with Helton and Mullins. There's a bit of stragglers at the end of that line. And here's the onboard with John Mullins as he tries to chase down Logan Helton. And now it looks like Helton's car is starting to come alive as Strunk gets a little bit loose off 4. That's going to give Helton the opportunity to go to the inside of Christopher Hill in the 99. Exactly what he does. They dive back into turns at 1 and 2. Hill going to try and fight back on the outside. But Helton on the inside trying to hold on to that 9th spot. Looks like that 63 starting to come alive a little bit, but look at the move from Hill, bottom to the top, and he goes to the bottom of the racetrack once again in turn 3 to go to the inside of Ryan Strunk.
Christopher Hill with a good run coming out of turn number 4. He's going to collect that position there from Brian Strunk. John Mullins getting ready to push the 63 of Logan Helton into that corner there. Good run there for the 63. Needs to collect more positions though. Hoffman running P3. It's going to be important as Helton throws a little bit of a slide job there, as Ryan Strunk's not going to take that. He's going to try and pull him back there with the side draft. He's got him side by side going into turn 3. But yeah, as I was saying, stage points. You need to get more as you gain more spots there. Hoffman running 3rd. Helton, I believe, running P9 right now. Strunk with another big moment there at a turn number 4 getting loose. Mullins going to take advantage of that. Get to his outside here going into turn number 1.
Side by side. There's Mullins trying to use the outside line. It can work through 1 and 2. Definitely doesn't look like the lane that you want to be in, but as I say that, John Mullins doing exactly that and forcing his way around Ryan Strunk in the 77. But Mullins now back up into the top 10. And a great run from Mullins now that is starting to shape up. Unfortunately, eliminated from the playoffs back in the round of 16. So now he is just running for bragging rights now in the top 10. Boyd Hogan, a little bit of clutching from him. We talked a little bit about it pre-race, Breyer, about the clutching and what exactly is that doing for these drivers with these setups. Why are they pushing that clutch in? Of course, could also help with fuel saving, but they can make it to the end of these stages on fuel. So why exactly are they putting that clutch in and just sort of coasting going in and out of some of these corners?
If I had to take a guess, I would assume that Boyd has his car taped up a lot. He's probably going to be running hot on temperatures depending on how much he taped it up. But yeah, him clutching to the corners would give me a sign saying like his temperatures are hot and he's wanting to get back out to lead. When he's out in the lead, you've seen him at the end of stage 1. He pulled out to a pretty decent gap, and that's probably because of the extra tape he's got on compared to these other guys. Tape is not too big of a difference, but it definitely, you can tell there's a difference. So when Boyd gets back out front here, you should see him expand his lead.
Definitely seems to be same thing that a lot of the NASCAR Cup Series drivers face when you're back in the dirty air. You know, normally it's stuff getting flown around, maybe getting caught on the grill here. It's that dirty air and that just group of drivers that you're behind. Not a lot of air getting into that radiator, so leads to some higher temps. Is Wyatt Mickelson in 94. Haven't talked about him pretty much at all tonight, but he is into the pit lane. He's one lap down, so this doesn't look like a truly scheduled pit stop, but he does have some damage that I believe he is getting fixed as well. So Mickelson in the 94 will stay in the pit lane, and here it comes Boyd Hogan to the inside. A move on Clayton Hoffman to go up into P3, and exactly what Hogan needed to do, put him back up into the podium spots. Now here's the big question: how quickly can he catch Arthur and Hutchison? And when he passes Hutchison, watch those live points, they will swap and put Hutchison back to only 20 points above the cut line. This could also be a little bit of a gift for Vincent Arthur to get himself a little bit further up above that cut line as well. Arthur's not going to give much of an issue for Boyd Hogan as Hogan goes to the inside in turn 3.
A little bit of a moment there for Boyd as he slipped up. Looks like Vincent Arthur and Hoffman. Hoffman's going to slide back in behind Boyd. Nice racecraft there from Hoffman. Going to ride, learn, and see what he can learn from Boyd here. See if he can save his stuff along with them and maybe go collect more stage points at the end of this. But yeah, a little bit of a moment there. But as Boyd said when we interviewed him at the end of stage 1, these cars are definitely tough coming out of turn 4. Mainly 3 and 4 is the issue because how trimmed out these cars are. See if we can get through here clean one more time. Run a little higher up, maybe trying to get some momentum going down the front straightaway, but still stuck behind Vincent Arthur.
Still stuck there, but ultimately trying to get back around as we go on board with Arthur. And a little bit of a loose moment. That wheel is not supposed to go that far to the right. And now here comes Hogan back to the inside, very loose off of turn number 4. And it looks like over the course of these runs, Briar, these cars are just getting looser and looser. Hogan talked about turns 3 and 4 being a bit loose, but it looks like turn 2 was just a huge moment for Vincent Arthur. He's going to lose more spots off of it.
Yeah, Vincent Arthur stuck on the outside there where you don't want to be. iRacing did change a little bit of the track properties here. To me, they put down like a sort of imaginary PJ1, but not as gripped up, I would say. But yeah, Vincent Arthur falling back on the outside as we're on board with Joseph McWhorter. He's at the tail end of this little train here that we got of 6 cars, right where he wants to be. Christopher Hill, yeah, big moment there off of turn 4. Another unhappy car, a lot of unhappy cars coming out 4.
We've seen that throughout the first stage, and we're seeing it throughout the second stage, and I believe we will see it in the future as well throughout stage number 3 of action tonight. Still a ton more that is coming up here in the Aiologs Projects 300. Just nearing about halfway done, and nearing about 26 to go when they come across the line here in stage number 2. Battle is up front with Hutchison and Hogan both battling towards the front of the field for that top spot. It looks like a little bit further back, side-by-side moment for Stephen Davis and Ryan Strunk, as well as Shorba and Derek Whitford having a little bit of a side-by-side moment. Off of turn 2 they go. Stephen Davis able to grab the spot for Ryan Strunk, and now Shorba's to the outside of Derek Whitford in turn 3. Whitford able to hold on to that side-by-side as we go on board with John Theodore. Shorba now the lowest running playoff driver. This is not the start to the round, I think, Briar, that Jacob Shorba wanted, running back here just about mid-pack.
No, definitely not the run he wanted. He's going to have to go up and collect some stage points in this stage, and definitely the future stages coming up here at Kansas and Martinsville. But yeah, like I said, definitely not the run he wanted here. John Theodore is side by side with him here. Back up front, we have Vincent Arthur and Chris Rivera riding along here. Boyd Hogan still chugging along, trying to run down Ralph Hutchison, with Clayton Hoffman following behind. He's following and learning, taking notes, seeing what he can do to try and beat Boyd here at the end of this race, maybe.
Cut line, currently 12 points to the good, is Helton being saved by his car waking up here in the middle portion of the stage to give himself just a little bit more and be able to fight through the mid-pack. Now up into P8 on the racetrack. As you can see on the timing tower, left side of your screen, the drivers lit up in that green are the playoff drivers, and still the bottom playoff driver is Jacob Shorba in the 30. Stephen Davis not with the best run so far, and then Helton and McWhorter are the last two playoff drivers, apart from this 4 playoff driver chunk that is at the front of this field. Clayton Hoffman is one of them. Hoffman with a great run through the first part of turns 1 and 2, getting close to Boyd Hogan. Hogan gets loose, so does Hoffman. They both have a little bit of a moment off too, and they both save it. That's going to ruin a bit of momentum for Hoffman, as he looked like he might have had an opportunity to get around Boyd Hogan there off the exit of the corner.
Yeah, definitely got in his dirty air wake there and almost followed him up into the wall. Boyd and Hoffman very close to touching the wall there, as the lead pack has shrunk down to 5. Joseph McWhorter has fell off. Christopher Hill not too far behind. Joseph McWhorter might have a change for position there, but yeah, this lead pack has shrunk down to 5, as Severa looking low on Vincent Arthur here going into turn number 3. Does he get the nose in there? No, he does not. He backs out. Little loose, big moment there. Gonna lose a lot of momentum. Does he hang on to the lead draft here?
Severa might end up losing these top 4 as we officially go halfway through, done with the Aiologs Projects 300 here from virtual Texas Motor Speedway. 20 to go here in stage number 2. Then we'll go racing for an 80-lap final stage, stage number 3. And the winner of this race, if it is playoff driver, will automatically lock themselves into the next round of the playoffs. But with 19 to go now here in the stage, something interesting I do think is worth noting, Breyer, is that Hogan has not caught up to Hutchison just yet, as Christopher Hill goes to the inside of Joseph McWhorter, put the 99 up into P6. But Hogan has not caught Hutchison yet. He's getting close by about 2/10. But the lead has not swapped from Ralph Hutchison over to Boyd Hogan just yet. And time's running out in this stage. We could see a Ralph Hutchison stage win here from Virtual Texas.
Yeah, laps are winding down here. I wonder if Boyd used up his stuff a little too much here in this stage, but he definitely saved enough to get him in a good spot here. Already locked in, I believe, into the next round, fighting for a championship. But yeah, as you said, we might see a Ralph Hutchison stage win here. He might have played it right, just trying to hold on to some clean air and make Boyd fight through the dirty air. Hoffman along behind him, trying to fight through the dirty air as well. Definitely needed to collect some more stage point. Hoffman is, with Helton running P8. Helton running P8 is definitely better than his stage 1 run. I think he can do a little bit better. I think he's got it in him. Who knows what he's got in the car, though. It looks like it's not too happy, but Helton and Davis there running through 1 and 2.
Running a little bit down in the lap times here as the tires continue to wear. Here's the driver wall again, and you can see us here in the commentary booth. You can see all the drivers, and up there, our social media manager for the evening, Eric Messer. Very glad to see him on the cameras. He is always with us here in the commentary box, can never talk on the microphone, but at least we get him on the cameras. Great to see Eric Messer, one of the hardest working social media managers in all of the iRacing community. Thank you very much and doing an amazing job. You can make sure to follow Podium Esports everywhere you can find them at Podium Esports, and you can get Eric Messer's live race updates throughout any broadcast that you see here on Podium Esports, as we go on board with Chris Severa trying to chase down Vincent Arthur in that number 24. And Severa's going to have an opportunity to really get up to the back bumper of Arthur. Here he goes to the inside. What a run off turn number 2 there, Breyer. Dirty air did not affect that 62 on the exit. Didn't get loose or anything. A huge run to the inside and a huge run through the middle portion of turns 3 and 4 as well to complete the pass.
Absolutely, he had a great run through 1 and 2, pulled him back perfectly on the back stretch and got around him going through 3 and 4. But as you see, they're kind of far back from the lead pack, because I don't know if Chris Severa has enough time to reel in that lead pack of 3 cars. Ralph Hutchison still leading that pack. Boyd following, Hoffman in 3rd, But yeah, it seems to be a lot more separated than what we had in stage 1 here. Boyd looks like he's falling back a little bit. Not sure if he's going to get there or not. A little loose coming off the corner, it looks like. But we'll see what Boyd's got. I'm sure he's trying to save and time it just right.
Ralph Hutchison leads the way. This season, Hutchison has a total of 9 stage wins. One of those 9 came at Talladega in the last round of the championship, and in the last round of the playoffs, I should say. And he won stage number 1 there. Stage 2 win at Talladega was Boyd Hogan. Stage 1 at Charlotte Roval, Boyd Hogan. Stage 2 at Charlotte Roval, Boyd Hogan. And stage 1 here tonight at Texas, Boyd Hogan. So this will be the first time in 4 stages here at the MSRA Premier Series that we have a different stage winner if Hutchison can hold on to that top spot. We go on board with Brandon Davis as Logan Helton goes for the slamming of the door. Can't do it. A crossover from Brandon Davis puts the 91 to the inside, but Helton's not giving up on the outside, but it looks like he might be forced to give way as Helton falls back into P9. Still seeing a bit of an unhappy race car for Helton right now, Briar.
Yeah, absolutely. With Helton falling back to 9th, that's another stage point loss. It's going to be very... Oh, as Helton has a big moment off turn 2, almost hits the wall coming off the corner. But yeah, it's going to be crucial for Logan to try and run back down Brandon Davis and see what he's got to try and gain another spot, another point. But that was a big moment off turn 2. Luckily did not get into the wall there.
Back off the corner of turn 2, 10 laps to go here in stage number 2. Hutchison, Hogan, Hoffman, the current top 3. Hogan does have an opportunity to get this stage win. We know Hogan has the speed. Question is, does he have enough to get around Ralph Hutchison? Last time by, Hutchison faster by about a half-tenth. Same thing with Hoffman. Well, actually, he was about a full tenth faster than Hoffman. Hoffman about a half-tenth slower than Boyd Hogan. So that's how they currently run at the front, 1, 2, and 3. Chris Severa runs 4th with Vincent Arthur rounding out your top 5. It'll be 8 to go here in stage 2. Time very quickly running out from Texas already. Over halfway done with this race. And stage number 3, Briar's only 20 laps longer than the initial stages here tonight. Stage 1 and 2, we go from 60 laps to 80 laps. But that pit strategy is going to become a bit of a challenge for these drivers because really is 3 options. And we talked about it in the pre-show. We have one option of pitting when you have about 60 to go, and then running your fuel tank dry in the end. You have the opportunity to basically cut the stage in half, pit right in the middle, 40 laps down, 40 to go, and take your pit stop then, be good to the end, or run your fuel tank all the way dry and pit with about 20 to go. There's plus and minuses to really all of those strategies, but I think to keep it safe, we're going to see a lot of drivers try and cut that stage in half. It's about the thoughts you have, but if you're one of the drivers, let's say Vincent Arthur, let's say Chris Severa, close to the front, maybe has just a little bit off the pace, or maybe is running up to pace with the drivers up in the front, are you taking a different pit strategy, maybe trying to undercut or overcut, or are you going to still go typical strategy, cut the stage in half, be good to the end?
If I was Vincent Arthur, Chris Severa, Christopher Hill, any one of those guys, I would definitely do my best to try and undercut there. The reason why I say that is because you want to try and undercut, gain enough time to where you're going to be able to hold on to the lead draft. You see these 3 have pulled away. If you late pit and you aren't able to catch back up to lead draft, you're probably not going to get there by the end of the race. But you want to be able to undercut, hang on, save your tires, and try and hold on to that draft, because that's the most important thing when it comes to pit stops here at Texas.
Hutchison still leads. Hogan, Hoffman, Severa, Arthur the top 5. There'll be 4 to go in stage number 2 this time by. So we go on board the 92 of Stephen Davis, and is catching up to Logan Helton. Last time by, about 0.3 faster than Logan Helton was Davis, and Helton's in the wall off 4. A hard hit for the 63 coming off of turn 4. He's gonna go all the way down to P14, P15 now on the racetrack. And a huge moment for the 63 of Helton off turn 4. Gets loose, slams into the wall. And I think that might be race over for Logan Helton here, Briar. Here's the replay.
Yeah, big moment coming off 4. We've always talked about it all night. The struggles that these cars are having. Yeah, huge hit there. That's going to be a lot of damage there. It looks like he's going to bring it onto pit road now as we speak. But yeah, that's not going to be good for him. But the points, Hoffman running P3, Logan Helton now out of the stage points. It looks like he's going to park it and he's going to tow it. Looks like that is race over for Logan Helton. That's going to be big for the points. We'll see how that plays out here at the end of the stage.
Struggles all night for Logan Helton, and unfortunately it's not a positive ending. It's going to end in a retirement from Logan Helton here in this race. That is not going to be good for the points at all, and just so unfortunate for Logan Helton, and so unfortunate for the points. And Hoffman running up at the front of this field as well is just going to make it just a little bit more of salt on that wound. White flag here in stage number 2. So we have 1 lap to go. Hutchison looking to grab his 10th stage win of the season. And with this finish in this stage as well, Boyd Hogan looking to solidify himself into the next round of the playoffs. As they exit the final corner, it is Ralph Hutchison with the win here in stage number 2. Hogan, Hoffman, Severa, and Arthur, the top 5. And this will bring out the yellow flag here from Virtual Texas Motor Speedway. Stage 2 over and done, and your Stage 2 winner, Ralph Hutchison, presented by HutchCo. HutchCo has been proudly serving the northeastern Colorado community since 1999, pouring the foundations of countless homes and shops. The MSRA commemorates their service as their business ends operations. HutchCo has long desired to be involved in racing and has joined the Premier Series to fulfill that dream. Thanks to HutchCo for their service. Drivers will be making their way down into the pit lane, and Logan Helton, unfortunately, with an early end to that race. And we have him up here in the commentary booth with us now. Logan, we have seen the struggles all night. Did not look like that 63 car was on your side tonight, and unfortunately it all ended up in the wall in turn 4.
Yeah, I was just having a hard time with it tonight. I'm not too disappointed. I knew my points coming in, and I wasn't really happy with where I was running, but probably would have been better to try and keep it out the wall, but I just kind of lost it. So yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes, I guess.
This will set you back a little bit in the playoff points because Clayton Hoffman's having a pretty good night up at the front of the field. Going into Kansas and Martinsville to round out the round, do you think at either one of those racetracks you can walk away with a win or walk away with 2 consistent finishes?
I'm confident in Kansas that I can just be consistent, and I'm confident at Martinsville I can be up front. But it all just kind of depends. Yeah, I look forward to Martinsville. Usually it has a couple of cautions in it, so where it kind of keeps it on the down low, if that's the right word. But yeah, I mean, I kind of had fun tonight just fighting the loose car, and I was just kind of sliding all over the place. So that was pretty fun if you look at it the bright side.
Well, thank you very much for joining us here, Logan, and unfortunate end of the night for you, but hopefully to be a better day from Kansas and Martinsville to round out the round.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys for also putting on a good show for us tonight.
Thank you very much. There's Logan Helton, driver of the number 63 for Nexus Esports, and that'll lead us into our Strunk PC ones to watch. Check out Strunk PC on Facebook for all of your computer repair needs. Briar, who are you looking at to grab the win tonight? Right now, in the first two stages of the night, we have two different drivers that have been at the front.
Yeah, it's definitely a toss-up between Ralph or Boyd. I'm going to go with Ralph Hutchison there. Able to hold off Boyd. I think that's a good, really good showing there for Ralph. Hopefully he can do that here in this next stage and hold on to the clean air advantage he's got over Boyd, but it's going to be tough.
And our social media manager, Eric Messer, going with Clayton Hoffman to walk away with the win. I do like that pick from Eric, and Hoffman has been strong at the front, but I do think that we are going to see Ralph Hutchison end up grabbing this win, but just to be different, I'm going to go with Boyd Hogan running in second place. I'm going to go for that 4 in a row. I think the 96 has that speed. He has it over a long run. I think that pit stop in the middle going to be the right strategy for the 96. And our producer Ryan Bauer going with Chris Savera running in the number 62 machine, 4th place currently. Started in second. He's got decent speed and has been up at the front throughout the beginning portion of this race. And so far this season for Chris Savera as well, 2 stage wins, 1 race win, and with an average finish this season of about 6th. Looking like a good night for Chris Savera in P4. We'll be taking the green flag next time by the start-finish line and go racing in stage number 3. Expecting pit stops the first time under green tonight at just about halfway through, which is going to lead to some interesting racing on the track, Briar, because I do think these drivers are going to treat the opening portion of this stage a little bit less aggressive, and then maybe be a little bit more aggressive towards the end after that pit stop, because it really is like you're racing 2 completely different stages. Of course, no guaranteed caution in the middle of the stage to break the 2 up, but you still will have just sort of 2 stages you're running. And look at those live points. Logan Helton's now below the cut line.
Yeah, huge implications there for Logan Helton. But as you said, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers approach these last little laps, I would say. Like you said, 2 stages possibly, depending on how they work this. Some might run longer, some might run shorter. Depends on where they are in points, maybe for the playoff drivers specifically. But it's going to be interesting to see how Boyd handles this run here. We've seen him drop back a little bit, save his stuff, and then he'll run back up. But with this being perhaps a shorter run, it's going to be interesting to see how he plays that out.
Hutchison, Hogan, Hoffman, Savera, and Arthur, your current top 5. The story of the cut line continues to change, and we'll see if it'll change even more from now to the checkered flag. Pace car ready to pull into the pit lane, and to begin stage number 3, we'll let you hear the sounds of the NASCAR Cup Series machines at the Texas Motor Speedway. This is iRacing Full Throttle. Hutchison continues to lead the way as stage number 3 gets started. Hogan falls to P4, relatively par for the course there, Breyer, as he drops to about the middle portion of the top 10 and then fires himself back up as we see Braxton DeWeese go side by side with John Mullins. DeWeese trying to make the outside line work in 3 and 4. Not going to work for that 15. Hill's going to lose that spot to Mullins.
Yeah, Braxton DeWeese working his way forward inside the top 10. A little bit better run he's got going in this last stage. A little loose, it looked like, coming out of turn 4, but working his way forward. And so we got a side-by-side battle there with Christopher Hill. And I can't tell who that is. Joseph McWhorter falling back into range. Christopher Hill looks like he's got a strong piece, though. Looking low on Braxton DeWeese. A little bit of a late dive there. He's going to make it work, getting around Braxton DeWeese. And he's clear off turn number 4.
Hutchison at the front has a bit of pressure from Hoffman right now. It's not a ton, but you can still see Hoffman is there adding a bit of pressure. Look at Derek Whitford almost get up into the 91. Early on in these runs, everybody stacked up together and everybody running just about inches away from one another as they now will go to 70 laps to go at the line. Logan Helton is back on the racetrack, 10 laps down, unfortunately, and nobody else even on the racetrack that is 1 lap down. Everybody else on the racetrack is currently on the lead lap. So that's going to be stressful for Logan Helton. He's going to need to either get 10 laps back or hope more drivers end up out of this race, Breyer, and that go above 10 laps down.
Yeah, absolutely. The best thing for Logan Helton to do is sit there and run laps, try and see if he can gain a couple spots. Hopefully something happens. As we have a big moment off turn number 4, Braxton DeWeese all over the place there. I believe that was him losing a couple spots. It might have been Christopher Hill, not sure. It was caught at that at the corner of my eye. A lot of action going on there. But side by side there with Stephen Davis, John Mullins, Christopher Hill, and Shorba right there, side by side, going into turn number 3. Stephen Davis running the Podium Esports number 92 Ford Mustang. Looks like he might get the pass done here. No side by side still with John.
Side by side between Mullins and Davis. They're on board with Christopher Hill. Hill has Shorba and McWhorter behind him. Shorba's going to make a move to the outside there for a moment, as making a move for P2 is Boyd Hogan. Here he comes, trying to get back to the front. Look at the move down to the inside. 3 wide moment in turn 3. As to the bottom goes Christopher Hill. Middle is Stephen Davis. Outside is John Mullins. They'll stay 3 wide through the tri-oval. Can this work? Just barely. They all bounce off of each other, and they're still 3 wide. From turn 3 to turn 1, it was all 3 wide for these 3 drivers, and Stephen Davis is going to get away the best. Mullins and Hill will now have to fight for P8 side by side, but what racing we're seeing right now here at the Texas Motor Speedway. 3 wide for half a lap, and that barely worked through the tri-oval, Breyer. I know that had to be stressful, especially for Stephen Davis in the middle of 3 wide going through the tri-oval.
Oh, yeah, it's incredible how they didn't wreck. I thought for sure there was going to be some kind of incident coming out of that. Props to those guys, though, for keeping it straight and clean, as the battle still isn't over there for P7. We got Christopher Hill side by side with Stephen Davis. Let's see if he gets the move done here in turn number 3. Good run. Stephen Davis going to try and get down and pull him back best he can. He's going to have the run off the top side by side, still even. Coming down the front straightaway, John Mullins trying to close in and capitalize on this side-by-side battle that's happening in front of him as Joseph McWhorter's trying to look low on him. Close contact and around go. Did he save it? Sort of. I think he's got it. They kept it all straight.
John Mullins was sideways there, and it looked like he made contact with a couple other drivers, but somehow they save it. We stay green. And that was a huge moment in turn 2. John Mullins was the one that mainly went around in this engagement. It was contact with the 32 of Joseph McWhorter. Shorba got a bit of contact. I believe Santini maybe. And look at this. Everybody else just checking up to miss it. 4 wide for a moment. But they all somehow keep it straight, and we stay green, Breyer. Was one piece of contact leads to multiple drivers just trying to take evasive maneuvers. Take a look at up the top of Brandon Davis, threads the needle, avoids everything.
Yeah, again, how they didn't wreck, I don't know. Props to everyone there for keeping it clean and keeping it straight there. The biggest thing that I noticed is I would be worried if I was Shorba, got a little bit of nose damage there. Hopefully his temps aren't going through the roof there. We'll see how that plays out here in the next couple laps as they slowly maybe rise up. Who knows, he might have been lucky enough to escape that, but if the temps keep rising, he might have to make a pit stop and repair those, or repair the nose damage and take off some tape here.
John Mullins toes it to the pit lane. Looks like he's going to be out of this race. That's going to give a little bit of help to Logan Helton now. He's at least going to maybe get one spot on the racetrack if Mullins goes more than 10 laps down. You're on board with Boyd Hogan here, and there's the story of the cut line. Hoffman falls to 4th, giving Helton a little bit of help because remember, every position that Helton gains and every position that Hoffman loses is going to affect that cut line now that Hoffman is above and Helton is under. So we'll see if if Hoffman can stay at the front of this field, or we're going to see Logan Helton maybe get a couple of positions from drivers towing back to the pit lane and being out of this race. I believe he'll get one from John Mullins here. So I don't believe Mullins is going to come back onto the racetrack, but if that's all he gets, he needs to hope Hoffman loses spots here on the racetrack. Breyer, he's going to be out of luck when it comes to that cut line and have to go into Kansas in 1 week's time underneath the cut line.
Yeah, luckily enough for Logan, there are 2 more races left, but this one is still not over. It's not over till the checkered flag waves. As it's scored right now, Logan Helton is 10 laps down. John Mullins 3 laps down as the cars wind around the track. John Mullins is going to lose those laps, and Logan Helton's going to stay the same here, and he's going to eventually pick up that position from John Mullins as he should. It'll gain him a point. Hoffman running P4, as you said, hoping to not lose spots there. He's +4, as you see the live points there, +4 above the cut line. Logan Helton gaining that 1 spot will put him -3, depending on where Hoffman is.
Field works their way through 3 and 4. Hutchison in the lead. Hogan trying to chase him down. And we'd like to remind you that the MSRA Premier Series is sponsored by FSM Customs. FSM Customs offers custom button box builds for sim racers across different disciplines of racing. In addition to boxes, FSM also offers custom decals to customize your rig even more. Flip the switch on your sim rig and check out FSM Customs on Facebook. Inside, 60 to go, 58 laps to be exact. Glad you're joining us here on Podium Esports. I'm Joshua Leo. Alongside me is Briar LaPrade with Ryan Bauer with using cameras by Dougie Beard as our director, and Eric Messer controlling all the social medias tonight. And glad to have Briar LaPrade alongside with me. He'll be competing in a couple weeks' time in the eNASCAR Road to Pro Contender iRacing Series, going for a spot in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series for Lockdown Racing. So make sure you can tune in to all those rounds live here on Podium Esports and see Breyer in the hunt for a spot in the Coke Series. But here at the front of this field in the MSRA Premier Series, we're seeing a hot battle between Hutchison and Hogan right now. Making a look to the inside is Hogan, but Hutchison has just enough clear to be able to close that door as they run through turn 1.
Yeah, Ralph's best bet here is to try and keep Boyd behind him in that dirty air. We're on board here with Vincent Arthur. Focusing on these two, seeing if they're going to use up their stuff. Maybe he's saving a little bit of stuff. We haven't seen him up front much of this race. We'll see if he's got a good enough long-run car. We know Hoffman does. Hoffman's sitting in P4 right behind Vincent Arthur. Has got a good enough piece. Maybe they're saving enough stuff. See if they can play this out right at the end of this race.
There's still 55 laps to go. Remember, still one more pit stop is on the horizon, and we have seen previously that if you get that pit stop wrong, if you speed on pit road, if you come down into pit lane and maybe have a flub pit stop where you go up too far in your box, have to back up, you don't go too far enough into your box, could lead to just even more issues in the pit lane, which none of the drivers in this field want to deal with. And we have seen wins go away because of that. But at the front, Hogan not able to get the lead. I'm not sure, Breyer, if this is Hogan buying time or if Hutchison is just faster than Hogan at this stage. Because remember in stage 2, I don't think Hogan wanted Hutchison to stay at the front. Like, I don't think he was staying back and just watching Hutchison win that stage. I think if he could have passed Hutchison, he would have. This seems a little bit different than just, oh, let me save my tires, let me save everything I have strategy. Seems like Hogan might just be a little bit worse when it comes to these long runs than Ralph Hutchison here tonight at Texas.
Whatever Ralph is doing is the right thing here. He looks pretty good here, trying to keep Boyd behind, as Logan Hilton is now on the same lap as John Mullins here, soon to pass him for a position, as there it is, position swap, 16th and 17th there, as that puts Logan Hilton -3 below the cut. But as you were saying, pit stops, those are going to be coming up here pretty soon. One thing I noticed when we were interviewing Logan Hilton under those last round of pit stops under the yellow flag, I seen Christopher Hill miss his box by a lot there. Definitely don't want to see more of those mistakes out of these drivers, especially the top 5. If you notice that the top 5 has pulled away once again in the little train that they got going on, they are about second and a half, 2 seconds out in front. Christopher Hill really trying his hardest to reel in that lead pack. He's just the lone dog out there trying to close on in.
And another move being made on Hoffman, or from Hoffman, excuse me, on the 24 of Vincent Arthur. Can he get that spot? Yes, he can. So that'll put Hoffman now 4 above the cut line, helps him 4 under the cut line as it continues to change. And there's the live points right side of your screen. You can see him updated. McWhorter not with the best run here from Texas either, 13 below the cut line. Shorba, another one of those drivers, not exactly the best run for him either, even though he has gotten a little bit better through this third stage as McWhorter takes a peek to the outside of David Santini, who looks like he had a bit of a loose moment through turns 1 and 2 there. Here comes McWhorter to the outside looking for P12.
McWhorter looking strong on the outside here, trying to get around David Santini. A little bit of a run here side by side, even at the start-finish line. Let's see if McWhorter can make it happen through 1 and 2. Gonna have cleaner air here with Shorba running the bottom line. He's gonna feed dirty air to David Santini as he's gonna build momentum around the outside. A little loose there. It's gonna come back to David Santini down the backstretch. He's gonna pull him back best he can, side by side, going into turn number 3.
Santini to the bottom of McWhorter once again. Up and off the corner, can Santini cover that spot off? Gets a little bit loose off of 4, but he does get the spot. And here comes the Reaper Speed Lab teammates of DeWeese and McWhorter. They went side by side for a moment, but DeWeese is able to grab that 13th spot away. Can DeWeese grab a spot as well from the 79? We hop back up to the battle for the lead. Hutchison versus Hogan. Been the same story since the drop of the green flag here in stage 3. It has been Hutchison leading the way. Hogan not able to get there. Last time by, Hogan was a little bit faster than Hutchison, but it was only about a 100th of a second, about 12/100ths of a second to be precise. So Hutchison at the front of this field right now has a good car. He's got the clean air. I think we might see Hogan just struggling a little bit to get this lead, and here comes Hoffman. What can he throw into the mix here in the top 3?
Hoffman looking strong here, running in 3rd behind Boyd and Ralph. These two have been 1 and 2 for a majority of the race, with Hoffman stalking right there. Vincent Arthur and Chris Vera falling off just a little bit. Christopher Hill slowly getting a sniff of that slipstream or draft from this lead pack. He's trying to make his way forward. But yeah, Hoffman just stalking his way right there behind the 2 leaders, seeing if he can maybe make a pit call strategy, see if he can get himself out front for the end of the race.
45 to go. And just like that, we are nearing green flag pit stops here from Virtual Texas. Side-by-side battle between Strunk and Steven Davis. And Steven Davis in that podium machine able to power on back around to the number 92. And Ryan Strunk gonna fall a little bit past into P8. Here's the main battle at the front of the field, and it really has gone from 2 cars to just about 3 now, as Hoffman is in this lead group, and last time by, Hoffman set one of the fastest laps on that last lap, a 31.278. Roughly about a tenth faster than Hogan and about a half-tenth faster than your leader, Ralph Hutchison. So Hoffman has some performance in that number 12, I think, Briar, that we have seen a little bit, but we haven't seen him running up in those top two positions, I believe, at all tonight. Has an opportunity to do it now as he catches up to Boyd Hogan in 96.
Yeah, I'm sure Hoffman's ready to pounce whenever he can. With these two battling, I'm sure when they get side by side, as we're having an interesting look here, Boyd Hogan running the outside here in 3 and 4. I wonder if he can make that work. If not, Clayton Hoffman gonna be side by side, almost, not quite, as Boyd swipes down, shuts the door on Hoffman. It's gonna be interesting to see what Hoffman can do. I'm very interested to see if he can pull off a good pitch strategy to get himself out front in front of these two. Still 4 above the points there, as you've seen. But it looks like these cars have like about a 2.5 gap between each other when they're running single file here. It looks like there's a little bit of a bubble that they can't get past. That's why Boyd, as you've seen a lap ago, was running the outside. He goes back to the bottom here. Looks like he's got a little bit of a run back on Ralph here going into turn number 1. But Ralph holding strong here, leading the race.
And with 41 to go, I think it's safe to say we're going to be expecting some pit stops here soon. This is roughly about the halfway point of this run. So we didn't see anybody come down pit road for the first strategy that we talked about, where run about 20 laps, about 60 to go, right at that fuel window, you pit, run all the way to the end. Haven't seen anybody do that. Think we're going to see a handful of drivers come in here soon under green flag for the green flag pit stops. About halfway done with this stage. As we see a moment off of turn 4, Jacob Shorba is loose on the inside with David Santini. They almost made contact with Braxton DeWeese. Actually, I believe they did make contact with Braxton DeWeese. Turn 4, big moment. 2 drivers loose on the inside. We can see the replay. They were all stacked up here, Brian. It looked like it reached a breaking point through turn 4. You can see just a little bit of contact with the 15 of Braxton DeWeese. Right there, gets Shorba loose, gets Santini loose, and that's all it took. Luckily, nobody goes around and we stay green.
These drivers have been doing such a nice job of keeping the car straight and clean here. We haven't had an incident yellow besides lap number 1. But yeah, as you've seen there on that replay, Shorba just washed up a little bit there. Loose coming off the bottom as we have Hoffman coming into pit road here, playing the cards early. Let's see if this works out.
First driver to come in. Will this lead to multiple drivers coming in? We're hearing the calls over the iRacing voice chat of pitting in. So we could see even more come in. It looks like we see Ryan Strunk in. I believe we're going to see a handful more leaders come in. Shorba's in. Theodore's in. This is going to lead basically everybody down into pit road, and the green flag stops are underway. Who comes in from the leaders? Hoffman comes in, and Hogan gets very loose off of 4. Takes a trip through the infield grass. Not sure if he was trying to get slowed up for the pit lane or if he genuinely got loose off of 4, but that was a huge moment for Boyd Hogan. Steven Davis stays out, but Hutchison, Arthur, and Hill are all into the pit lane now.
Yeah, my guess here with Boyd, he was trying to go high to avoid Ralph. Ralph was calling, he was pitting in over the radio. I would assume that Boyd here got a little loose, running the high side. Calling it really close there. Yeah, just got a little loose there, cut it through the grass. Not too much time lost as he's coming into pit road right now. He gets it slowed down. 45 miles per hour down pit road. Goes Boyd.
Hogan is in. Watch the gap to Ralph Hutchison. That is who he is racing on the exit. With Hogan coming in, this is going to undoubtedly lead more drivers in now. 5 drivers have not come in. Severa, the 2 Davis brothers, DeWeese and Santini are all not in. Severa pits. Well, Steven and Brandon Davis come in next. Hutchison trying to chase down that race leader of Boyd Hogan currently on the exit. How close is it gonna be? Through 1, and Hutchison is going to straight up beat Boyd Hogan. I think that trip through the grass definitely did him no good. And now Hutchison to the front, and into second place goes Vincent Arthur. Hogan not only lost the lead, but he's going to lose second place as well, as Hutchison, Arthur, and Hogan now are the top three when they all cycle back around to end the green flag pit cycle. Stephen Davis, David Santini still staying out on the racetrack. Looks like they might be going for a little bit of a longer strategy. But at the front, Clayton Hoffman actually looks like he might have the net race lead, but the battle for the net race lead is on as Hutchison looks to the inside. There's Stephen Davis, he's your current race leader, but the net race leader, when the pit cycles back around, Hutchison back to the front after passing Clayton Hoffman. The undercut worked for a moment, and then here comes Ralph Hutchison to grab that race lead back. Stephen Davis is in, David Santini comes in, but Ralph Hutchison back to the front. Hoffman has the pace to keep up, and now with Vincent Arthur being about 2.4 seconds back and Boyd Hogan being right behind Arthur, good see Clayton Hoffman having an opportunity to get by Ralph Hutchison for this lead.
Big opportunity for Hoffman here. Shortcut looked to play out in his favor. A lot of time lost there for Boyd and Vincent, I believe. But as Hutchison gets around McWhorter here, Huffman trying to get around him as well. McWhorter slides in between these two almost. Hoffman trying to work around, but Ralph and Hoffman with a pretty decent sized lead. It's going to be interesting to see if Boyd and Vincent can reel him back in before the checkered flag waves.
David Santini, the only driver left out on the track. He comes into the pit lane. This will conclude the green flag pit cycle with 31 laps to go here at the line. So Santini is in. Hutchison, Hoffman, Hogan, Arthur, and Hill are now going to be the top five as they will cycle their way back through. Santini gonna fall a little bit more down the order as he was the last driver to come in and pit. So now, battle is on for the race lead between Hutchison and Hoffman. Battle is on between Vincent Arthur and Christopher Hill now for P4. And up front, Hoffman trying to hold off Joseph McWhorter, who is currently 3 laps down. He's not racing him on the lead lap, but driver behind you is not going to do you much good here. Breyer could give him a little bit of a push, but not sure how much McWhorter is willing to help the 12.
Yeah, not sure how much he's wanting to help him out, but he's definitely helping him out here, pushing him with the air bubble behind him. Boyd trying his best to reel these guys in, but McWhorter pushing Hoffman here is definitely helping Hoffman, though, with the tire disadvantage he's got from pitting so early. This is definitely going to work out in his favor.
30 laps to go, make it 29 as we continue from the virtual Texas Motor Speedway. With Hutchison out in front, Hoffman trying to chase him down. Last time by, Hoffman was quicker than Ralph Hutchison, but only by 2/1000ths of a second. Not exactly enough time being gained by Hoffman to be too much of a threat to Hutchison, but we'll see how this run is going to develop. This will be the shortest green flag run that we see of the entire night, but we're gonna go just about 35 laps to the end for a couple of these drivers. Hoffman, Strunk, and Shorba were in the first group to pit, and they currently have 10 laps on their tires, so they're gonna go about 38 laps. Hutchison about 37. Hogan about 38 laps to the end of this, about 36 laps to the end of this race. So, with that said, interesting to see how these runs are going to develop. They will be the shortest runs of the entire night, which, Breyer, going from 60 lap runs in the stages with the stage caution, and with that first caution we saw in stage number 1, say about 50 laps on the stages, as we finally figure out why Joseph McWhorter is down in P15, 3 laps down. Speeding penalty off of pit lane, so he ended up with a drive-through penalty. That'll put him down the order now in P15, 3 laps down. But so I was saying about the runs tonight, Briar. Shortest one we've had compared to about 50 laps that we had in each of the stages, maybe about 55 in each of the stages. Shortest one we've seen tonight, but compared to the stages of what we saw, not too much shorter, but still can lead to some interesting running on the racetrack, and interesting to see whose car is more trimmed out for a shorter run. We know Boyd Hogan is better for the long run. Can he use it as a short run car to be able to get back to the front?
Yeah, Boyd's absolutely reeling in the gap to Ralph Hutchison, your leader here. So he's going to look low on Joseph McWhorter. McWhorter's going to be nice enough to let him go here, as Boyd has his sights set on Hoffman here. Let's see how quick he can make this happen. But yeah, as you said, it's going to be interesting to see who's got the better short run car. Boyd didn't look like he had the better short run car, but the long run's going to play into his hands. But yeah, shorter run, we'll see how these guys handle it. They're not going to have to sit there and save so much. As Boyd gets side by side with Hoffman down the back straightaway, shouldn't be too much of a fight here, as Boyd's going to go low, and he's clear, moving into position number 2. Now it's time to see if he can reel in the leader.
This is going to be an interesting battle. Remember what is up for grabs. Winner of this race, whether it is Hutchison, Hogan, or Hoffman in the top 3, will automatically qualify themselves into the next round of the playoffs. That is incredibly important for these drivers, and for Hutchison to get it, he came in 16 points above the cut line. Winning this would make Kansas and Martinsville absolute no pressure races for the 51 of Hutchison. We talk about Boyd Hogan, 3 wins in a row. He completely swept the last round of the playoffs, completely swept the round of 12. One at Darlington, one at Daytona, one at Michigan, the Indianapolis Road Course, and about 8 other races this season. He is at 14 wins on the year. Hutchison is at 2 wins on the year. Road America and Darlington. Trying to get back into victory lane is Ralph Hutchison. Trying to solidify himself in the championship 4 is Ralph Hutchison. Christopher Hill also starting to close in. He's catching up to Clayton Hoffman. Doesn't look like the 12 has enough to race to the front, but the gap is closing for the race lead. Hogan's looking for 4 in a row, looking to be known as one of the 4 racing in Phoenix for the championship round. 20 to go, and the action is just heating up from virtual Texas.
It's time to push your chips all in on the table for Boyd here. Got to do everything you can to get around him and have the clean air when the race winds down here at the end. But as you mentioned, Christopher Hill closing in. I wouldn't count him out if he needs to get around Hoffman here quick, and I think he's got a chance to try and reel these guys in. But he's being held up by Hoffman. Hoffman doing a good job trying to hold him off. But on board with Boyd here. Sorry, tongue twister there. Intense battle heating up for sure. Boyd needs to do his best to get around Ralph as quick as he can to try and drive away.
And with 19 to go, this is going to be a challenge for Boyd. We haven't really seen him that good on the short run. We've seen him great on the long run, when he can just sort of attack when everybody else has used all of their stuff. Now, him and Hutchison just about on even playing field. Last time by, Hogan is still faster than the 51, and the gap now just about inches separating these two. Hogan takes a look to the inside. Can he get there? Yes, he can. Side by side into turn 3. Hogan with a great run to the inside, and brand new leader, the 96 of Boyd Hogan, drives his way back to the front. Now the question is, what can Hutchison do? Can he retaliate? Can he get back to the front? Does he have enough in that number 51? Last time by, Hogan was 0.2 faster, and the speed is continuing from the 96 with 17 to go. Hutchison is going to need to turn on the wick now, or it'll be too little too late.
That might be all she wrote for Ralph Hutchison there. It's going to be tough to fight back with the old tires compared to Boyd's little bit newer tires. But the dirty air is going to be tough to get through, like I said, with the old tires for Ralph. Boyd now has the clean air advantage. It's what the drivers want here at Texas with this 550 package and high downforce. It's going to be tough for Ralph.
At Dirty Air, we've been talking about it all night. It's been a challenge for pretty much everybody this season. And speaking of Dirty Air, one of the sponsors of the MSRA Premier Series is Podium's own Gary Sexton. You can check out his stream at twitch.tv/DirtyAir13 for whenever he's racing the MSRA Premier Series or just racing some iRacing on a typical evening. You can catch Gary Sexton at Dirty Air 13, twitch.tv/DirtyAir13. The good type of Dirty Air that we do like to talk about. We don't like to talk about the Dirty Air that's happening on the racetrack, but it is a challenge that we need to bring up for these drivers, and with 15 to go, Hutchison is caught in that Dirty Air, and somebody else who is Severa, who's trying to catch up to Vincent Arthur, looking for another top 5 on the racetrack. 14 to go at the line. Hogan hasn't been able to run away, I think, as much as we were expecting. Briar Hutchison is still within 2/10.
Hey, he's still there, putting up a fight. Like I said, though, it's going to be tough. Laps are winding down, not much time left. He might need a little bit of help from another car or something. Might need to try and run a different line if he can, but we'll see what Ralph has in store for him. Maybe he can fight back.
Through turns 3 and 4, back to the front straightaway. 13 laps to go. Still within 2/10, not able to make up any ground is Ralph Hutchison. Hogan still out in front, still consistent, leading the way in the number 96. Big question is, how much is this Dirty Air affecting that 51? It doesn't look like it's affecting him more than other drivers, I think, Briar, because take a look at this. Gap is still closing in as Hill passes Hoffman for 3rd. Hutchison is still within about a 10.5 now for the race lead. He is not going anywhere, even with that Dirty Air. Take a look at this, 1/10 as they go on a 1.
Ralph needs to do his best to race smart here. He's got a lot on the line. Boyd's already locked in with the amount of playoff points he's got, so he's already ready to go race at Phoenix. Ralph has a lot on the line here, only 29 above. If he happens to put himself in a bad spot or just race really aggressively with Boyd here, they could put him a lot closer to the cutoff line. So Ralph needs to do his best to obviously try and win, but definitely needs to race smart here and just collect some points and head on to the next race, but definitely don't give up on the win here.
You can see those live points on the side. With this win, this will lock Boyd Hogan into Phoenix, and you can see Vincent Arthur, 33 good, 29 good is Hutchison right now where he currently runs, and Hoffman where he currently runs, 3 above that cut line. Now Helton in the number 63 is currently off of the racetrack. He is not racing right now. So the only thing that can help Helton is if Hoffman loses more positions. 10 to go. You're on board with Brandon Davis, who currently runs P10 in a big scrap of cars, about 7 cars deep here as DeWeese is going to look to the inside of the 91. We get a great look at the Davis brothers as they cross the start-finish line. David Santini wants somewhere to go. The 91 almost makes contact with the 30, almost 3 wide as Santini goes in the middle. They settle it off. Loose off the corner goes Brandon Davis, and off of 2 to the back straightaway. They settle it back out to 2 wide, and Shorba's trying to pull further into the top 10. DeWeese punches his ticket to the top 10. Here's Santini to the inside of the 91. John Theodore wants a piece of this, as well as Derek Whitford in the 44, who are on board with now.
This is a wreck waiting to happen if I had to guess. This isn't too far in front of the leaders. If this is big enough, the leaders need to be on their toes and make sure they're careful trying to get around it if it does happen to be a big wreck. As Braxton DeWeese into the wall down the back straightaway, Santini gonna hop on that. Davis gonna try to, might stick at 3 middle. No, he does not enough. Braxton DeWeese trying to cut down the track and get a run. Little loose coming off 4. Big battle going on here. Hopefully no junk ends up happening.
Side by side, Santini and DeWeese still. No change at the front of the field as we take a look at this massive battle for P8. Much more than 4 drivers. Hogan and Hutchison still at the front. Nothing has changed there. There's still 2/10 within each other. 2 by 2 goes this 8th place battle. as Ryan Strunk tries to go around the outside. A couple of drivers get loose through the middle portion of the racetrack there in 3 and 4. Still 2 by 2. Strunk on the outside, Shorba on the inside. Row 2, it's DeWeese on the outside, Santini on the inside. DeWeese gets another great run through the middle of that corner. Outside line in 1 and 2. Trying to power around Shorba now. Shorba loses a bit of momentum. DeWeese had a run, could not take it anywhere. He goes right into the back bumper of the 77 of Ryan Strunk. The 91 of Brandon Davis trying to use the outside line. Strunk loose on the inside. There goes DeWeese right on around for P8.
A lot of stuff happening as we're 3 wide going to the turn 1. We got contact up into the outside wall. Do they save it this time? Yes, they do. Davis still trying. He's got it straight going. Almost a wreck here within 5 to go. That would have been a huge change if that happened. Props to those guys again. 3rd time, keeping it straight. Crazy.
I think they are just about trying to give Boyd Hogan a heart attack right now. Boyd Hogan at the front of this field. The last thing he wants to see is a yellow flag. They're actually catching up to this group. Not sure how quickly, but they are catching up to him. Like the last driver, Ryan Strunk, in this group goes into 1. Boyd Hogan is just now entering turn 1. This could get very interesting with the lapped cars with 4 to go. I think they might be going just fast enough to where we could see them come into play maybe on the white flag lap, but we're gonna have to wait and find out. 3 to go at the line. Those lap machines, honestly, Briar, are the last opportunity that Hutchison really has to walk away with this race win.
It's going to be another dirty air challenge if Boyd gets close enough. We'll see how nice the lap cars are going to be with Boyd and Ralph here. Boyd definitely going to be on the radio calling for them to move out of the way the best he can. But we'll see how nice the lap cars are going to be here inside. 5 to go here. We got 3 to go, coming to 2 to go.
2 laps to go at the line. Hogan looking for 4 in a row, his 15th win of the season. And here comes the lap machines. How is the dirty air from the 77 of Ryan Strunk, the 91 of Brandon Davis going to affect the number 96 of Boyd Hogan? He races down the back straightaway, catching up pretty quickly to the 77. Makes a look to the inside. Strunk's not gonna make it difficult for Hogan. And it looks like the dirty air is not going to be enough to help Hutchison. White flag is in the air. 1 to go, sponsored by Canterbury RV. And Boyd Hogan at the front of the field is looking to walk away with yet another win. He completely swept the round of 8 in the playoffs, looking to begin the round of 8 exactly how he left the round of 12, with a win. 4 in a row for the 96, and he locks himself into the championship round at Phoenix. Boyd Hogan wins from No Limits, Texas.
Boyd Hogan with a dominant performance here at Texas. Played the cards right with strategy. Unfortunately, Ralph Hutchison pitting a little bit earlier, didn't pan out the way he wanted to, but congrats to Boyd Hogan on this win. 4 in a row, like you said. Ready to go for Phoenix, I assume.
He now reaches a grand total of 101 total playoff points on the season and locks himself in to fight for a championship in Phoenix. Hoffman finishes above the cut line. Hutchison and Vincent Arthur in the 24 will go into Kansas trying to stay above the cut. This is your Aiologs Project's winning moment. Their sequential shifter combines superb craftsmanship with the incredible feeling you'll experience shifting through the gears. For the most critically acclaimed and affordable shifters on the market, visit their website at shop.aiologs.net. Aiologs Projects, shift into the future. What a win for the 96 of Boyd Hogan. He burns it down here in Texas. And a fantastic way to begin the round of 8 for that legacy esports machine. And a fantastic run on yet another intermediate from Boyd Hogan. Almost unstoppable when it comes to the intermediates tracks in the MSRA Premier Series for the 96. He grabs the win here from Virtual Texas, and we'll be speaking with a lot of the drivers from the MSRA Premier Series in our post-race show that's coming up right after this. You're tuning into coverage of the Aiologs Projects 300 live from Virtual Texas on Podium Esports.
Waltrip, Marlin, Petty, Earnhardt. These are just a few of the greats to add their names into the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway record books. Who adds their name this time around? The All-American Esports 400 returns to iRacing's virtual Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway October 23rd through 24th. Register now at podiumesports.com/AA400. Sign up before October 17th to receive a discounted registration for the weekend. Write your name in history at the All-American Esports 400.
Welcome back to Virtual Texas Motor Speedway and Podium Esports. Live coverage of the Aiologs Projects 300 has concluded with Boyd Hogan at the front of the field grabbing the win. Ralph Hutchison in P2. Christopher Hill with Clayton Hoffman and Vincent Arthur the top 5. Chris Severa, Stephen Davis, Braxton Deweese, Jacob Shorba, and John Theodore the top 10. Back from there, it's Derek Whitford, David Santini, Brandon Davis, Ryan Strunk, Joseph McWhorter the top 15 with Logan Helton, John Mullins, Wyatt Mickelson, and Tommy Gossett finishing off of the lead lap. And unfortunately, McWhorter, Helton, Mullins, Mickelson, and Gossett all having issues at one point tonight. We enter the post-race show and we get to speak with your race winner, Boyd Hogan. Boyd, welcome back again, second time tonight, and in the post-race show, fourth time in a row that we get to speak to you here on Podium Esports. A challenging night, I think, for you. You did not get that stage 2 win. Did you need something more from the car through stage 2, or was it a combination of the dirty air and you not really wanting to get aggressive through the middle portion of this race?
No, it was definitely the dirty air. The car was awesome. I liked the car. Obviously, everybody worked on it pretty hard for Tuesday. Primarily got a shout out Vicente Salas for that. He tested his ass off for Texas and helped me get the car dialed all week, and I mean, I couldn't be happier with the car. It's really just like I was telling y'all at the end of the stage 1, I think it was. It's just whoever gets out front kind of controls the whole deal, and if you don't make a mistake from there, you're set. So I didn't want to rough Ralph up. We got together a couple times, and he's been on the bad end of it more often than not. So didn't want to move him for a stage win or even a race win, really. I was planning on running it out clean. I didn't think it was going to be that easy to get around him, honestly. At the end of the race, I thought he was going to have something a little bit more there, but I don't know if he was having some kind of an issue, but yeah, it was 4 in a row. Hell yeah.
And moving forward now, of course, you are locked into the Championship 4 at Phoenix. How's the Phoenix product for Legacy Esports and the car that you are going to take to Phoenix? Do you have confidence that it's going to be the car to beat and that you're kind of going in with a leg up on the competition going into the final race of the season, going for a championship?
I wouldn't necessarily say a leg up. The funny thing about it is I think we've been pretty nuts on short tracks really since we've been a team. I think it's been probably our strongest suit, and honestly, it's LDRs too, so if Ralph gets in there, it's definitely going to be a brawl. We'll have a good piece. We'll be ready. That's about all I can really say or promise at the moment. You never know what you're going to get with these guys.
And of course, Kansas and Martinsville remaining here in the round. No pressure on you now, but can we expect 2 more wins and another sweep of the round for you and the team?
Man, you always put me on the spot to guarantee some wins here. I can't do it, man. You saw how tonight went. It's so unpredictable. I mean, it's a lot of the times it'll come down to chance or just I don't know, something crazy happening at the end. Especially at Kansas being the way it is. It's gonna be a crazy race. It's gonna be a lot of passing, top and bottom works there. It'll be a great race, and Martinsville obviously I love, so I feel good about both of them for sure. Can't guarantee anything, but I do want to thank everybody on Legacy, Vicente obviously as I mentioned, Jared Crawford for busting ass on these cars all year long. Glad it's not over yet, but we're one step closer to it. Kevin Kirchar for doing everything he's doing for us. Curb Records, Blackstone Management, Champion Power Equipment, AC Avalanche Blaster, all of our partners, Reaper Speed Lab, and obviously you guys and everybody who supports the league for putting on the show. This was a lot of fun. The Aero wasn't the best, but it is what it is, and can't ask for a better group of people to race with, really.
Well, thank you very much for joining us post-race here on Podium Esports. That is Boyd Hogan, your winner here from Virtual Texas in the number 96. We transition over to your second place finisher on the night, Ralph Hutchison, who's standing by with Brian LaPrade.
Ralph, wonderful race. Came home with a second place finish. Looks like you had stage 2 played out pretty well. You held off Boyd. Looked pretty strong. What do you think you and your crew chief, Logan Sheets, could have done differently there in that last stage to maybe end out on top?
There was a lot going on there. The way Boyd exited pits and everything, he had the perfect run of cars to draft up to, gain time, pass, and then was able to leap up to me with a tire advantage because he stayed out an extra, I believe, 2 laps. So I was able to hold him when we were level tires and play the air game. When he had the tire edge, there just wasn't a whole lot I could do there. Really proud of the effort, and the fantastic Sam's of Thornton, Colorado Ford Mustang was great. Just weren't able to close it out.
Absolutely. Looks like you got yourself a pretty decent points gap heading into Kansas and Martinsville. What's your plan for those 2 races coming up?
Same as tonight. Try to lead every lap and win. There's too many guys below the cut line right now that could sneak a win here that would just completely flip this upside down. So the best course of action would be to go in for sure.
Absolutely. A win would throw in a wild card, change a lot of things up. But congrats on your second place run. You got any partners you'd like to thank?
I want to thank everyone who puts this league on. All the awesome Lockdown Racing partners, SimSeats, MPI, Sparko, Garage Guys Fantasy Sports, Makoti Setup Shop. There's Anthony, of course. There's so many people that help out. So ton of people to thank. It would take 5 minutes to get through them all. There's a lot of awesome partners that put this league on too. So thank you to all of them.
Absolutely. Congrats on your second place run, Ralph.
Thanks. Talk to you later, bud.
Great to hear from Ralph Hutchison, second place finisher on the night. We now bring up the 99 and Christopher Hill, third place finish tonight for you, Christopher. Looked like you had some decent speed, qualified on the pole, but went to the back and right back up to the front. What were the challenges you were facing in that Toyota tonight?
It was really just a game of dirty air all night. I had some damage through a checkup on the first run, and I got it all fixed up. But in both runs, by the time I could get back up to 5th, 6th, the train of the top 5 had already checked out, and the draft was worth a couple tenths a lap, at least early. And you couldn't make solo car speed to match the draft until 30 plus. So the damage was done by the time I could get back to some kind of clean air.
And even with those challenges, still drove yourself up into those top spots, and haven't seen much of you in this series since the spring. I believe since Talladega in the spring was your last start here in the series. Still a good effort, in my opinion, for you to come back into the series here at Texas and run up front like that. Is that a similar feeling for you in the Legacy Esports team?
Yeah, I mean, it's always the name of the game for our team. We were busy through the middle part of the year, so I wasn't able to make a good chunk of those races, but committed to running full time next year, and Jacob was nice enough to let me run through the end of this season, through the last couple races of the playoffs. So I mean, I was mainly through most of the race, just trying to take care of the playoff guys, let them do their deal, and when it was time to race for a finishing position, gave it all we had.
Can we expect to see you in 1 week's time at Kansas? And if not, can we expect to see you at all until the end of the season in the MSRA Premier Series to carry over a good third place finish here from Texas?
The plan is to run out the rest of the season, build some momentum, and then run full time next year.
Well, great to hear, and we hope to see you in 1 week's time from Kansas. Once again, congratulations on your third place finish here from Virtual Texas.
Thank you. I got to thank all the guys at Legacy Esports, Blackstone Management, Champion Power, AC Avalanche, Carb Records, Blaster, everything they do for the guys at Legacy. Shout out to Boyd and Jared for working on the set. It was a hot rod, and we'll get them next week.
Well, once again, thank you for joining us in the commentary booth. That is Christopher Hill, driver of the number 99. Third place finish for him tonight. And Breyer, it was a night of a lot of challenges for drivers. Definitely a bit of challenges working their way up through the field. But at the end of the day, still seeing Boyd Hogan domination continue. And I don't think it shocks either one of us, really, to see the 96 back up at the front. But Boyd Hogan is going to be the driver to watch for the championship. And it really is who can catch up to him to beat him when it comes to Phoenix in a couple weeks time.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see who can step up and challenge Boyd Hogan in that number 96. The playoff cutoff line is going to be interesting to watch also coming into Kansas and Martinsville. Very close gap there between Helton and Hoffman. We've seen Helton have trouble tonight, so hopefully that gets figured out and we can move on from Texas on Helton's side of things and hopefully not end up in an incident like that again. And we'll see what he can do in these next two races to try and get back above the cutoff line.
Helton looking to get it back above the cut line. A lot of drivers trying to leave Texas in the rear view mirror. And we have a little bit of drama. Get Moonhead in here. We do have a little bit of beef between Mullins and McWhorter that has been going on in the Discord chat. Obviously, both of them came together during that race. So we've got drama from Texas. Saw a little bit of carnage at the beginning. We ultimately did see some great racing here from Fort Worth, Texas as well. Plenty of other upcoming events are on the horizon for Podium Esports and iRacing in general. That begins tomorrow night with the SimMax Cup Series powered by MPI from Virtual Kentucky. You can catch that race October 17th, 9:15 p.m. right here on twitch.tv/Podium Esports. Then PCA Sim Racing returns on both Wednesday and Friday, October 20th and 22nd from Virtual Auto Club Speedway, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. You can catch that on iRacing.com/live. The Force Dynamics Dallara iRacing Grand Prix Series continues from Virtual Hockenheim. That'll be on Thursday, October 21st at 3 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/iRacing. You can catch myself on the next round of the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup Contender Series. And it's October 23rd on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time as well, twitch.tv/iRacing. Then the next round of the MSRA Premier Series playoffs, the round of 8 continues in the middle race of the calendar from Virtual Kansas, October 23rd, Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here, twitch.tv/Podium2. Just like that, that'll wrap up our coverage here from Virtual Texas. For Jacob Shorba and everyone at the Midwest Sim Racing Association, for James Pike, Cisco Scaramuza, Gary Sexton, and John Theodore at Podium Esports, and for tonight's team, our producer Ryan Bauer, cameras by Dougie Beard, Eric Messer on social media, and for my colleague in the booth, Briar LaPrade, my name is Joshua Lee. Thank you so much for watching tonight's broadcast, and we hope to see you tomorrow night for the SimMax Cup Series powered by MPI.